Chapter 1997. Qin Shu, Su Yu, and Gao Ran were waiting for news at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Suddenly, a subordinate reported, a 3-year-old girl was found on Huaran Road. She seems to be Mr. Qin's missing daughter. Mr. Qin, please come and confirm. How many children? Qin Shu couldn't sit still. Only one. Hearing this, Qin Shu's heart sank. Where is she? Let's go check it out. Su Yu was also anxious. He told his grandfather that the military was involved. This time, she was determined to stop that bastard Huasi. He was so heartless that he wouldn't even let a child off the hook when he was seeking revenge. Qin Shu, Su Yu, and Gao Ran immediately rushed to the first hospital after receiving the news. Pudding was sent to the emergency room for an oxygen mask. Doctor, how's the child? Qin Shu was also worried sick. The child is fine. She just ran for too long and lacked oxygen. She'll be fine after a while. Hearing this, everyone let out a sigh of relief. When Qin Shu and the others walked in, they immediately saw Pudding lying on the hospital bed. It's really Pudding. Su Yu was quite happy. But, why is Pudding alone? Where's Little Bean? Gao Ran frowned slightly. He had a bad feeling. Qin Shu walked over carefully. Seeing his daughter wearing an oxygen mask, his heart skipped a beat. He reached out his big hand and gently held his daughter's small hand in his palm. At this time, Pudding slowly woke up. Daddy. Her voice was very weak. Pudding, don't be afraid. You're safe now, Qin Shu comforted her in a hoarse voice. Daddy, go, save Little Bean, and Mommy. Pudding only thought about her sister and her mother. Okay, we're looking for them. They're in the western suburbs, less than 15 miles away from the TV tower. There are no villages around, only wild grass. There are 2 factories, about 2 miles apart. There are a lot of people there. You have to be careful. Pudding told him everything she knew in one breath. Even Gao Ran was shocked. This 3-year-old child actually remembered so much, describing the distance and location so clearly. Gao Ran, did you hear what my daughter said? Quick. Tell your men to search in the western suburbs according to this. Don't waste time. Right away. Don't worry. Gao Ran turned around and walked out to lay out his plan. Su Yu went up to Pudding and said, Pudding, why didn't Little Bean come out with you? How did you escape? There was an auntie with a little daughter. She seemed to be close to the big bad guy who caught us, but she wasn't a bad guy. She said she was Mommy's friend and Mommy asked her to save us, Pudding explained briefly. Qin Shu immediately reacted. Hui Yan Yan? Yeah, her name is Yan Yan or something. Pudding nodded. When we escaped, there were people chasing us. Auntie Yan Yan helped us distract some of them, and I met a big dumb guy who also helped us. In the end, Little Bean helped me distract the last group of people. That's how I escaped. Daddy, you have to go save them. Okay, Daddy will go now. Take care of yourself. Don't worry. Qin Shu patted his daughter's hand. Wait for Daddy to bring them back. Pudding nodded happily. Su Yu. Qin Shu turned around and was about to speak. Su Yu immediately waved his hand. I know, I'll take care of Pudding. Go and be careful. Chapter 1998. See, listen to me. Hua Min helped me a lot these past few years. Every time I was bullied, she would stand up for me. She even found me a job and gave me money. She really helped me a lot. She's not as bad as you think. Forget it, sis. Wake up. She'll be good to you. If she was good to you, you wouldn't be where you are today. She's rich and lives in South Hill Manor. What about you? You and your daughter live in a rented apartment that's less than 50 square meters. She eats all kinds of delicacies. What about you? You eat the cheapest bento boxes every day. She enjoys life, but you work so hard to make a living. Think about it, who put us in this situation? If she didn't conspire with Huasichin back then, would we be like this? We're already the high and mighty young master and young mistress of the Hua family. Can you wake up a little? Huasi thought that Hua Yanyan was bewitched by Hua Min, so she kept speaking up for her enemy. See, I'm awake. You're the one who's not awake. You're the one who's blinded by hatred. Think about it, you're not even Dad's son. Dad was the one who imprisoned you and Mom. He was disappointed in you and didn't care about me. This has nothing to do with Hua Min. If you want to talk about the family assets, it was Huasiqian who did it. Don't hurt the innocent. See, even you're laughing at me? You think I'm a bastard? Huasi stared at Hua Yanyan with bloodshot eyes. That's not what I meant. I just, stop talking. Men, take her and her daughter to the car. I need to take care of things here. Okay, Big Brother E. His subordinates nodded and took Hua Yanyan and her daughter away. See, we have to hurry. That brat ran away. I think the pursuers will be here soon. We don't have time. Ruan Qingqing looked at her watch and reminded Huasi. He picked up his phone and called Qin Chu. Since he had already been exposed, then, there was no need to be afraid that he would be able to trace his whereabouts because of the call. At that moment, Qin Chu was driving a sports car and was about to arrive. Hello? He put on his earphones. Qin Chu, you still have a daughter and a wife in my hands. What do you want? I don't care what method you use. 1 billion international check, I want it now. No problem. You have to guarantee the safety of my wife and daughter. She's in my hands. You have no right to negotiate with me, Huasi said viciously. In short, I have to ensure the safety of my wife and daughter. Otherwise, you won't get a single cent. Qin Chu tried to calm Huasi down as he drove. He was extremely anxious. On the bus of the municipal bureau, Chief Gao, Mr. Qin is missing, gone? What do you mean? He probably didn't follow your plan and went to save them himself. This guy is too stupid. Huasi and his men came prepared. It's dangerous for him to go alone. Hurry up and set up a checkpoint at the intersection to stop him. Gao Ran was extremely anxious. It's too late. They'll be here soon. Gao Ran was speechless. See, let's get out of here. Otherwise, it'll be too late. Ruan Qingqing urged Huasi. They had successfully obtained the cash and check that Huasiqian transferred to them. Huasiqian was on the verge of death after being beaten up by Huasi. The knife wound on his leg was still bleeding profusely, however, his eyes never left Hua Min. He was afraid that Huasi would suddenly attack Hua Min. Hua Min didn't even have the heart to look at Huasiqian. He hugged his daughter and comforted her, don't be afraid. Daddy will come and save us soon. Chapter 1999. See, stop wasting time. Let's go. Ruan Qingqing carried a suitcase full of US dollars that she got from Huasiqian, as well as hundreds of millions worth of international checks. All she wanted was to leave this place, but Huasi was still thinking about how to get his revenge. Wait, Qingqing. I'm going to give them a big gift. Then, Huasi took out a black suitcase from the corner. He took out 2 black boxes from the suitcase. He tied them to Hua Min and Little Bean, then separated them. Huasi, what are you trying to do? Hua Min was already very weak. Even his voice sounded weak. Haha, you'll understand. You should thank me because I'm going to give your husband the biggest problem of his life. Then, you'll see if he cares about you the most. After Huasi laughed viciously, he walked up to Huasiqian. He raised the dagger in his hand and slashed Huasiqian's wrist. The sharp blade cut deeply into Huasiqian's artery, and blood immediately poured out. It was very scary. Little Bean was so scared that she started crying. Mommy. I'm so scared. Little Bean witnessed this cruel scene with her own eyes. Huasi's methods were indeed cruel. Bastard, kill me if you can. Hua Xiqian weakly lay on the ground. Huh, I won't kill you. That'll make you feel too good. I'll make you bleed bit by bit and wither bit by bit. You'll even feel the feeling of your body being sucked dry. In the end, you'll be like a mummy and die from excessive bleeding. The best part is that you know you're going to die little by little, but you can't do anything because no one can save you, psycho. Hua Min couldn't help but curse at Hua Si after hearing what he said. What on earth did Hua Si go through in just 4 years? What made him so violent? He was inhumane. How could he do something so extreme to Hua Xiqian in front of a child? Shut up. I'm in this state because of you guys. Even if you and Hua Xiqian die 1,000 times, it won't be enough to quell the pain and hatred in my heart. It's about time, enjoy yourselves. By the time you guys get blown to pieces, I'll probably be on the other side of the Pacific Ocean, sunning myself and drinking coffee. Then, Hua Si and Ruan Qingqing left, and his subordinates slowly. Hua Min, Little Bean, and Hua Xiqian were left in the factory. Suddenly, the world, Hua Mian, Hua Mian of her. I'm fine, but you're bleeding a lot. For the first time, Hua Mian forgot about her hatred towards Hua Xiqian. Instead, he tried to crawl over to Hua Xiqian and stop the bleeding. I'm fine, I won't die. Don't move. What's on you and the child is a ticking time bomb. If you move, it'll go off at any time. Hua Xiqian warned Hua Min not to move too much. What? Oh my god, it's a ticking time bomb? Sob. Mommy, am I going to be blown to pieces? This is too scary, I don't want to die. I want to see Daddy and Sis, sob. Little Bean started crying again when she heard that it was a ticking time bomb. Chapter 2000. Hua Min knew full well that Hua Si wouldn't put in so much effort to install a listening device on her. She didn't even need to think to know that it was a custom-made bomb. I don't think it's the kind that can be detonated at any time. There's probably a trigger. Hua Mian, on the other hand, wasn't afraid. She moved her body step by step, and finally, she crawled to Hua Xiqian's side. She used her mouth to remove a piece of cloth from her neck and tossed it to Hua Xiqian. Hurry up and bandage it. We have to stop the bleeding from your wrist or else your life will be in danger. Seeing that Hua Xiqian's blood was about to turn into a river, Hua Min only wanted to save him. It was purely a medical worker's instinct. She didn't have time to think about all the grudges between them. Mian, if I die, will you miss me? Hua Xiqian didn't take the cloth. She tilted her head and looked at Hua Min's handsome face with a pale face. Is there any point in saying this at a time like this? Hua Min frowned and said faintly. Of course, to me, your answer is the most meaningful thing. Tell me, if I die, will you think of me? Even if it's just for a moment. Ah. Hua Xiqian forced a smile. Hua Min paused. Maybe. Maybe not, I don't know. To be honest, Hua Min was conflicted. On one hand, she hated Hua Xiqian to the core because he did many things to hurt her and Qin Chu. On the other hand, Hua Xiqian was extremely protective of her. In order to prevent Hua Si from hurting her, he was willing to provoke Hua Si. In the end, he ended up in this horrible state. As long as one was human, they would have compassion. Hua Min was at a loss when faced with someone who had persecuted him time and time again and saved him time and time again. Fine. Although I'm not satisfied with your answer, I know you're sincere. Hua Xiqian turned around. With great difficulty, he picked up the piece of cloth and wrapped it around his wrist to stop the bleeding according to Hua Min's instructions. Hang in there. My husband will come to save us soon. Hua Min looked at Hua Xiqian, who was starting to lose focus. Heh, your husband saved you, not us. Hua Mian remained silent after hearing this. Besides, Qin Chu wanted to kill me anyway. If he comes, I'll be free. I just hope that he'll let me die a quick death. Hua Xiqian's consciousness began to blur, probably because he had too many wounds and too much blood. His voice was also extremely soft, he only felt cold, sleepy, and a little tired. Mian. I'm a little cold, Hua Min's heart sank. His hands were tied, or else he would have found something to cover him with. Mian. I'm a little sleepy. I want to sleep. Hua Xiqian, listen to me. You can't sleep. Listen carefully, if you sleep now, you won't be able to get up. You'll die and never wake up again. You have to hang in there, okay? Hua Min was extremely anxious. He kept shouting until his throat was sore. Hua Xiqian struggled to turn his head and stared at Hua Min's handsome face. He deliberately teased him. Okay, then I won't sleep. Give me a kiss, Hua Xiqian said playfully. Chapter 2001. Hua Min was speechless. What's with that look on your face? I was just teasing you, silly girl. Hua Min's face was covered in tears. Although Hua Xiqian was a big bad guy and she wanted him to die, she didn't want him to die. However, she still couldn't accept seeing him die in front of her. As a doctor, although she should have been indifferent to life and death, she still couldn't accept it. It would be the cruelest thing in the world for someone she was familiar with to die bit by bit in front of her eyes like the stars in the sky. Mian, talk to me, I don't want to sleep. Okay, I'll talk to you. Hua Min was out of breath from crying. Seeing her mommy talking to the big bad guy, Little Bean didn't dare to cry anymore. At this moment, she calmed down. Mian, do you know what I was thinking when you were sentenced to death in prison? No. Hua Min shook his head. Then, I'll take you and leave this place. We'll go to a small island in the Pacific Ocean and build a beautiful manor there. It's like spring all year round, facing the ocean and blooming flowers. The house has a Chinese-style design that you like. The front yard is filled with lavender, and the back garden is filled with red roses. There's a fountain, a pavilion, and a small bridge over flowing water. There's also a small vegetable garden, where we can grow our own vegetables and eat them ourselves. The two of us will live a carefree life there, isolated from the rest of the world. Only the two of us, you only have me in your heart, and I only have you in my heart. We'll grow old there, give birth to our own children, and spend the rest of our lives there. Hua Xiqian struggled to finish his sentence. Hua Min was still sobbing uncontrollably. That's a beautiful dream, Hua Min said as he cried. Hua Min thought that a person like Hua Xiqian would have a dark heart and wouldn't have a beautiful dream. However, Hua Min could imagine the scene he just described. Every scene was a waste of time and was the most beautiful thing in the world. It turned out that a person like Hua Xiqian also had a beautiful dream. However, that person had to be Hua Min. Mian, I've never loved someone so much before, but I love you so much. I fell in love with you earlier than Qin Chu and deeper than Su Yu, but I'm the most pitiful person in the world. I can't even get your pity. Your smile is a luxury to me. I can't accept it, I really can't accept it. Hua Xiqian coughed violently. He couldn't accept it. You're wrong. Hua Xiqian, love isn't something you can predict or prepare for. It has nothing to do with sooner or later. I just fell in love with Qin Chu. No matter how early or late he came, he'll always be the love of my life. You, on the other hand, don't have nothing. There are so many people who love you, but you don't know how to cherish them. Hua Min tried to persuade Hua Xiqian. Love me? Who are those people you're talking about? Mo Shui and Yen Ruoshi? Ha. I can only say that their love, in my opinion, is cheap. Hua Xiqian sneered. No, as long as you truly love someone, there's no such thing as cheap. You say that you love me, but you've done a lot of things to hurt me. In my opinion, if you truly love someone, you won't have the heart to hurt them. Su Yu never hurt me, so I've always treated him as an important friend in my life. I've done so much just to be with you. Mian, in my life, I only have one wish. I'm not greedy. Hua Xiqian's eyes dimmed. He looked at Huamin with deep love and even a hint of humility. Chapter 2002. Hey, big bad guy, stop flirting with my mommy. You're about to die, how can you flirt with girls? Little Bean couldn't help but explode upon hearing such a mushy confession. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Little Bean's words. Hua Xiqian looked up at Little Bean with interest. Are you Pudding or Little Bean? Guess. Do I get a reward if I guess right? Hua Xiqian asked deliberately with a smile. Does a slap count? Little Bean was rarely arrogant. No. If I guess right, you'll make your mommy like me, okay? Hua Xiqian continued to tease her. In your dreams. Why don't you fly into the sky and stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun? Little Bean rolled her eyes at Hua Xiqian. Little Bean, don't talk nonsense, Huamin scolded. Oh, so you're Little Bean. Hua Xiqian smiled proudly. Little Bean covered her face. Mommy, is this how you betray your daughter? Huamin, hey, you big bad guy. This time doesn't count, my mommy spilled the beans. Oh, and don't even dream about an island or a manor. Handsome Su is so outstanding, but my mommy isn't with him. Who do you think you are? My mommy can only be with my daddy for the rest of her life. They'll have a little brother in the future. Ahem. Huamin was so embarrassed that he wanted to find a hole to hide in. Hua Xiqian was having a good time with Little Bean. He continued to tease her, I can have a little brother with your mommy. It doesn't have to be your daddy. Bullshit. How can your child be called a little brother? Only someone with the same parents is a little brother, okay? Plus, you're so ugly. How can your little brother be good looking? Only the Qin family has the best looks and genes. Little Bean said with a sense of superiority. Little Bean and Huamian talked to Hua Xiqian from time to time, trying to stall for time so that he wouldn't fall asleep. On the other side, Hua Xi and Ruan Qingqing led their subordinates to the harbor. Unfortunately, she bumped into Qin Chu not long after she got into the car. Then, the two sides engaged in battle. Gao Ran and a few of his men arrived in time to support Qin Chu. In a moment of desperation, Hua Xi abandoned Hua Yanyan and the others and drove away with Ruan Qingqing and Qian Qian. Qin Chu was more familiar with the terrain here than he was, so he drove his sports car straight into it. Hua Xi's black SUV was knocked over the guardrail and almost fell off the road. Hua Xi opened the car door and crawled out with difficulty. Then, he aimed at Qin Chu's car and started shooting. Qingqing, are you okay? Hua Xi asked as he fired. I'm fine. My leg is just a little injured. Ruan Qingqing hugged her suitcase tightly. Get out of the car and run straight. You'll reach the harbor soon. The boat is already there. Get on the boat and leave first, Hua Xi said. What about you? Don't worry about me. Qin Chu won't dare to do anything to me. Otherwise, his wife and children will be blown to pieces. Then, Hua Xi rushed out with his gun. Ruan Qingqing gritted her teeth and got out of the car from the other door. She ran towards the harbor. Qin Chu and Hua Xi shot at each other for a while. In the end, they still couldn't decide the winner. When they ran out of bullets, Qin Chu suddenly threw down his gun and slowly walked out from the back of the car. Hua Xi, come out. I know you don't have any more bullets, Qin Chu yelled at Hua Xi. Chapter 2003. Aren't you the same? Hua Xi viciously walked out from behind the car. He was also in a sorry state. Let's have a battle between men if you have the guts. Qin Chu coldly glanced at his face. Sure. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see how I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Hua Xi clenched his fists, his knuckles cracking. In Vietnam, he trained hard every day in order to make a name for himself. Then, he would go to the black market to fight. At first, he was beaten black and blue, but gradually, his skills improved by leaps and bounds. Eventually, he became an elite fighter. Not only was he ruthless when he beat people up, but he also became a human punching bag. He was very resistant. Therefore, when Qin Chu suggested a hand-to-hand fight, Huasi was full of confidence. He always thought that Qin Chu, who looked cold and arrogant, wouldn't have any real skills. At most, he would only learn a few tricks. However, when they exchanged blows, he realized that he underestimated Qin Chu. This was because Qin Chu's punches were extremely fast, steady, and accurate. They were very difficult to defend against, making it very difficult for him to defend. Qin Chu didn't have much patience. He was in a hurry to save Huamin and the kids, so he wanted to end this quickly. In a few moves, he hit Huasi's vital point. He kicked Huasi's stomach, sending him flying a few meters away. He then fell heavily on the ground. When he got up again, Huasiqian pulled out a dagger from his sleeve and stabbed it towards Qin Chu. Luckily, Qin Chu dodged in time and only got a small scratch. "You used a dagger? Ha! Coward." After discovering that Huasi cheated, Qin Chu looked at him with disdain. Perhaps it was this look that provoked Huasi. He held the dagger and charged towards Huasi. He stabbed Qin Chu fiercely, but Qin Chu used one hand to subdue his other. With one hand, Huasi dislocated Huasi's right wrist. Crack! Huasi was in so much pain that he cried out like a ghost, "Huasi, where are my wife and daughter? They're already dead." Huasi smiled viciously. "Impossible, I don't believe it. Tell me, where is it?" Qin Chu pressed harder. Huasi's face turned pale from the pain, but he was still stubborn. "They're dead. They're already corpses." Ha ha ha. Qin Chu was furious. He raised his fist and aimed it at Huasi's face, punching him like crazy. He beat him up until his face was unrecognizable, like a pig's head. Then, Qin Chu grabbed his hair and dragged him into his sports car. Immediately, he drove toward the abandoned factory that Pudding had described. The sound of the sports car's engine was especially loud and could be heard from afar. Little Bean was very sensitive to this sound. "Mommy, listen, it sounds like Daddy's car." "Oh my God, Daddy is here to save us. Yeah, we're saved this time." Huamin instantly felt relieved. She knew that it wouldn't be long before Qin Chu came to save her. She trusted him. When Qin Chu dragged Huamin into the factory, he saw Huamin and his daughter sitting in the empty factory. He threw Huasi onto the ground and immediately ran over. Ignoring Huasiqian, who was about to die, Qin Chu carried his daughter, Little Bean. "Baby, don't be scared. Daddy's here. Daddy, you're finally here. You scared me to death." Little Bean began to cry again as she lay in Qin Chu's arms. Suddenly, the little black box in front of Little Bean's chest beeped twice. Chapter 2004. Qin Chu looked down and saw that the timer had already started counting down. 18 minutes, time bomb? Qin Chu felt like his head was going to explode. He immediately turned around and saw that the one on Huamin's body had also been activated, 2 identical black boxes with an 18-minute countdown timer. Qin Chu didn't have time to think about it. He immediately took out his phone and called Gao Ran. "Chu, what's going on? Find me a top-notch bomb disposal expert as soon as possible. Quick." "Bomb disposal expert?" Gao Ran was completely dumbfounded. Mian and the baby have identical time bombs, and they only last 18 minutes. Hurry, fuck. This time, even Gao Ran couldn't help but curse. He originally thought that this was just a bad kidnapping, but he didn't expect something as high-tech as a time bomb to appear. Hurry. Get the best bomb disposal expert here. Hurry. Gao Ran roared, scaring his subordinates so much that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Qin Chu carefully put Little Bean down, held her face, and comforted her. Little Bean, it's okay. Daddy already got the experts. We'll go home as soon as we take them down, okay? Your sister is still waiting for you. Okay, I believe you, Daddy. Little Bean was still too young, only 3 years old, so she didn't know what a time bomb and an 18-minute countdown timer meant. Therefore, when she saw her daddy, she calmed down a lot. Chin Chu turned around and walked over to Huamin. He hugged Huamin. Honey. Huamin didn't know what to say, so she just kept crying. Don't cry. I'm here. Chin Chu patted her back and comforted her. Honey. I'm sorry. I caused trouble again. I shouldn't have left without telling you. But I'm scared. I'm scared that bastard Huasi will hurt our baby. Huamin blamed herself and regretted it, but there was nothing she could do. You don't have to explain, I understand. You didn't do anything wrong. I don't blame you. Don't worry, I've already called Gao Ran. They'll arrange for a bomb disposal expert to come soon, okay? Huamin nodded and released Chin Chu's neck. Chin Chu stood up and walked over to Huasi. She grabbed his hair and violently pulled him up. How do we defuse the bomb? Ha ha ha, do you think I'll tell you? Huasi laughed maniacally. Chin Chu was so angry that he kicked Huasi's pig head again, beating him to the brink of death. It was only then that Chin Chu noticed Huasiqian lying on the ground behind him. He no longer had the strength to speak, and only a sliver of consciousness remained. Huasiqian, very good. Today, let's settle the old and new grudges together. After speaking, Chin Chu picked up a knife on the ground. Just as he was about to stab Huasiqian, honey, don't. Huamin stopped him in time. Mian, are you pitying him? Chin Chu turned around and looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. No, I'm not pitying him. I just don't want you to become a murderer. If you do, what's the difference between us and him? If it weren't for Huasiqian repeatedly angering Huasi, I'm afraid I wouldn't be alive right now. Although he's despicable, he really did protect me this time. He deserves what he did to us, but I believe that he will be judged. All we have to do is expose his crimes to the public. Why should we stain our hands with blood for someone like him? Huamin didn't want to see Chin Chu act like a murderer and kill someone with his own hands, especially in front of Little Bean. Only then did Chin Chu realize what Huamin meant. He realized that he was too impulsive just now. He turned around and looked at Pudding. The child was looking at him with innocent eyes. He really couldn't do that. At this thought, he slowly put down the knife in his hand. He picked Little Bean up and sat down with Huamin and his family, waiting for the rescue team to arrive. Time passed by slowly. When there were only 8 minutes left on the timer, Gao Ran arrived. He brought along the bomb disposal experts. Chu, we're here. Gao Ran rushed in with a large group of police officers. Behind him were 3 bomb disposal experts. Hurry up and defuse the bombs. Chin Chu was frantic. Chapter 2005. Hurry up and figure out how to defuse it. Gao Ran asked his men to grab Huasiqian and bring him to the car. Then, he took the dying Huasiqian away as well. Only Huamin and Little Bean were left in the factory. The 3 bomb disposal experts studied it for a long time. Finally, the leading expert walked over. His face was serious. Chief Gao. President Qin, how is it? Is it difficult? Gao Ran asked. It's not a problem of difficulty, it's... The old expert stuttered. Chin Chu and Gao Ran looked at each other. They both knew that something was wrong. What do you think? Just tell us. Gao Ran gestured for the old expert to continue. This mini-bomb is a mother-son bomb. What do you mean? Gao Ran frowned slightly. Chin Chu listened calmly. It means that if we remove the wire on this side, it will detonate immediately. If we remove the wire on the other side, it will detonate immediately. The expert explained. What the fuck? That's weird. What if we remove both wires? Gao Ran didn't believe it. They will detonate at the same time. Qin Chu and Gao Ran fell silent. How much time do we have? Qin Chu asked. A little over 7 minutes. So, we suggest that Mr. Qin choose one. The design of this bomb is too difficult and we can't decode the complicated code in a short time. So, we can only choose one of the two. I'm going to ask that bastard Huasi. Fuck. Gao Ran was so angry that he turned around and was about to get into the car. Don't go. It's useless. He won't tell us. Qin Chu had interacted with Huasi before. He knew that Huasi had bad intentions and wouldn't give in easily. Plus, it was too late. They didn't have enough time. They couldn't waste any more time. Qin Chu turned around and looked at Huamin and Little Bean anxiously. Little Bean was nestled in her mother's arms. Mommy, I'm so hungry. I want to eat fried chicken, Little Bean whispered. Be good, it'll be done soon. When we're done, we'll go home. Then, whatever you want to eat, Mommy will make it for you, okay? Sure, I also want a toy plane, the kind that can be controlled remotely, the big kind. Alright. I also want Haagen-Dazs and tiramisu. By the way, my sister likes blueberry, and I like strawberry. Mommy, don't mix them up. Yes, I know. Huamin gently stroked Little Bean's head, comforting her. Chu, what should we do now? Gao Ran looked at Qin Chu sympathetically. Help me carry Little Bean to the other side. Qin Chu said in a low voice. Because according to the experts, if they could only save one of them, they could only temporarily separate them. Okay, should I carry her further away? Gao Ran asked. Qin Chu didn't answer, and Gao Ran didn't dare to ask again. Gao Ran walked over and picked Little Bean up. Let's go out and play with Uncle Gao. Wow, Uncle Gao, is Auntie Lingling here? No, she's sleeping at home. Gao Ran strode out with Little Bean in his arms. Is your Gao Boyuan here? I haven't seen him in a few days. I even bought him a toy car when I was in the States. Haha. Really? Thank you, Little Bean. The child's words almost made Gao Ran cry. Uncle Gao, when can I go home? I'm starving. I'm cramping, do you understand? Little Bean's childish words carried no harm. She kept complaining to Gao Ran. Every word she said made Gao Ran feel as if his heart was being cut into pieces. Chapter 2006. Little Bean didn't know that she and her mother were about to face a difficult choice. Between the two of them, only one of them could survive. The other one might really be blown to pieces. After Little Bean left, Qin Chu walked over and squatted down beside Huamin. Honey, the bombs haven't been defused yet. Where did Gao Ran take Little Bean? Huamin looked confused. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just held Huamin's face and kissed her on the lips. Honey, what are you doing? There are so many people here. Huamin was stunned. She didn't expect her husband to kiss her at a time like this, especially in front of the experts. It was so awkward. Honey, don't be scared. You'll be fine, Qin Chu wanted to comfort Huamin, but as soon as he said this, tears started to flow out of his eyes. Huamin immediately understood what he meant. The bombs can't be defused, right? She asked calmly. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just cried. She held Qin Chu's face and asked seriously, Don't cry, honey, look at me. Tell me, can't the bombs be defused? No. Then what's going on? Tell me, don't hide it from me, please. Huamin stared at Qin Chu's face anxiously. Finally, Qin Chu took a deep breath and looked up at Huamin. The bombs on you and Little Bean are cluster bombs. If you cut one of them, the other one will explode, and vice versa. If you cut them off at the same time, they'll explode at the same time, Qin Chu said in one breath. So, between me and Little Bean, only one of us can live, right? Hua Mian reacted quickly and realized the severity of the situation. Yes. Qin Chu nodded, completely disheartened. Let me think about what to do. Hua Min looked down and thought for 10 seconds. Then, she looked up and held Qin Chu's face. Honey, look at me and listen to me. Go ahead. I want you to save Little Bean. No, Mian. I can't do that. You know I can't live without you. Qin Chu's heart ached, and he shook his head repeatedly. Honey, I know you don't want me to die, but I can't watch my children die just to survive. Plus, I love her so much. There are two things I'm most proud of in my life. One is that I have a husband who treats me so well, and the other is that I have two smart and adorable daughters. I've lived for almost 30 years and I've tasted all the joys and sorrows in this world. But Little Bean is still so young, and she's only been in this world for 3 years. I don't want her to die just like that. I want to see her and Pudding grow up together, get married, and have their own children. So, honey, please, promise me that you'll let our daughters live. Please take good care of them, okay? Hua Min said with tears in her eyes. She didn't want to die, nor did she want to leave her husband and daughters. She didn't want to leave this colorful world. However, if she had to choose between her and Little Bean, she would definitely let her daughter live. No mother was willing to trade her daughter's life for hers. Even if she did live, she wouldn't feel at ease for the rest of her life. No, I really can't. Mian, I can't do it. Don't be so cruel to me. Qin Chu shook his head desperately. Chapter 2007. Mr. Qin, I love you the most. You have to do this. I know it's cruel and difficult for you, but you have to understand that if you sacrifice Little Bean for me, I'll live in pain for the rest of my life. I know, but Mian, I can't lose you. I really can't lose you. Qin Chu hugged Hua Min tightly. He really wanted to hold her like this forever. Then, when the bomb went off, he would take them to another world. Honey, I have enough. I have you, my daughters, my family, and my friends. I have enough. I have no regrets. I know it's hard for you to face the rest of your life, but the kids are still young. They need a good guardian. You have to live well. You have to take on the responsibility of a father. You've already missed 3 years with them, so you have to use the rest of your life to make up for it. Hua Min tried to persuade Qin Chu with the responsibility of a father. What about you? Mian, we've already missed 11 years. How many 11 years do we have in our lives? Are you really going to abandon me like this? Qin Chu was in so much pain that he wanted to die. I don't want to. Maybe this is fate. If there's a next life, I'll still be waiting for you at second high. We'll fall in love while we're still in high school. Then, we'll graduate and go to the States to study. When we come back, we'll take over the family business. We'll get married and have kids. Everything will be fine. I don't want a next life. I only want this one. Qin Chu hugged Hua Min tightly and refused to let go. President Qin, time is running out. You have to make a decision as soon as possible. The experts urged Qin Chu to make a decision. Qin Chu looked down at Hua Min. There were only 3 minutes left on the timer. Qin Chu's heart sank. I want to save my wife, Qin Chu made up his mind. If you do that, I'll kill myself when I wake up. I can't sacrifice Little Bean. Hua Min looked at Qin Chu with hatred. Mian, don't call me Mian. I don't want to sacrifice Little Bean. If you selfishly choose for me, I'll hate you for the rest of my life. Even if I survive, I'll kill myself. Then, you'll lose both of us, Hua Mian threatened fiercely. At this time, Gao Ran was also urging him through the walkie-talkie. Chu, you have to make a decision as soon as possible. I've already taken Little Bean away. If you choose Huamin, it's going to explode soon. If you choose the kids, we have to leave as soon as possible. We can't stay here any longer. We don't know how powerful the bomb is. President Qin, you should make a decision as soon as possible. There's not much time left. Everyone was urging Qin Chu. He felt like his head was about to explode. Finally, he roared, "Save my daughter." With that, he turned around and left, crying as he walked. His tears gushed out like a flood. Upon hearing this, the experts behind him immediately followed Qin Chu out. Since Qin Chu wanted to save his daughter, it meant that Huamin was about to explode. Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. She looked at Qin Chu's handsome back and thought that at this moment, he was the most handsome man in the world. "Honey, thank you." She closed her eyes with tears in her eyes, waiting for the last moment to come. On the other side, Gao Ran saw Qin Chu and the experts arrive. He asked anxiously, "Are you sure?" "Shut the fuck up, cut it." Qin Chu finally lost his temper. He pointed at Little Bean's detonator and ordered the experts. Chapter 2008. The bomb disposal experts were about to move when a woman's voice came from the door. "Don't move." They turned around and saw an unfamiliar young woman standing at the door with a small red box in her hand. "I have a way to save her." "Step back." The woman walked over step by step, panting. Obviously, she had come in a hurry. "Chu, do you know this person?" Gao Ran was dumbfounded. Qin Chu looked at the woman's face and found her unfamiliar, but her aura were familiar. He couldn't figure it out. While everyone was still in a daze, the woman took out a mini decoder from the box and stuck it on the bomb. Then, like a doctor swiping a credit card, the timer stopped after 2 beeps. The bomb disposal experts behind them were all dumbfounded. Fuck. Gao Ran felt like he was in a dream. "You are." Qin Chu had guessed her identity, but her appearance was too obvious. "You guys comfort the baby first. I'll go save her." Then, the woman turned around and ran toward Huamin. After the decoder decrypted one bomb, the other one stopped as well. When the 2 beeps sounded, Huamin felt like his heart was about to stop. She thought the bomb was going to explode, so she closed her eyes tightly and thought about the baby and Qin Chu. But after a while, there was still no response. When she opened her eyes again, she saw an unfamiliar woman in a black windbreaker walk in. Without a word, the woman took out a small item and stuck it on the bomb. Then, there was a click. The bomb was removed. "It's okay. You're safe." The unfamiliar woman finally let out a sigh of relief. Then, she excitedly put her arms around Huamin's neck. "You are." Huamin looked at the stranger in front of him, confused. "Sis." "I'm Lu Yen," Lu Yen said in a choked voice. Huamin was dumbfounded. "Lu Yen? You're Yen?" She couldn't believe it and thought she was dreaming. Ever since she found out that she had a younger sister named Lu Yen, she had been thinking about when they would meet again. But according to Qin Chu, it was because of that big pervert called Ian. Neither Lu Yen nor her father could have direct contact with her, so there was nothing they could do. It was the feeling of not being able to recognize each other despite knowing that they were family. Huamin didn't expect Lu Yen to appear at such a critical moment. Moreover, he had helped her remove the time bomb in time. "Yen. My daughter has a bomb on her as well." Huamin reminded her in a panic. "The child is safe. Don't worry." That's good, that's good." Huamin heaved a sigh of relief. At this time, Qin Chu and the others also rushed back. "You guys wait here, I'll go after that Vietnamese woman. If she gets on the boat and runs into international waters, we'll be done for. It'll be very difficult for us to catch her." Gao Ran remembered that other than Huasi, there was also a woman named Yuan Qingqing. She was the mastermind behind this incident. Don't bother, I already blew up the boat, Lu Yen said faintly. Gao Ran was speechless. Lu Yen, when did you get here? Although she was still wearing an ordinary human skin mask, Qin Chu still recognized her. I came here as soon as I heard that the child was kidnapped. But the process was a bit complicated. I had to shake off those people who were chasing me, and then I had to disguise myself. When I went through customs, I had to change my fingerprints to hide my tracks. So it took some time. Luckily, I made it in time. Lu Yen? Who's Lu Yen? Gao Ran was confused. He didn't know who this woman who said she blew up Yuan Qingqing's boat was. She's Mian's younger sister, Qin Chu introduced. Mian's younger sister? Gao Ran was even more confused. Chapter 2009. I'll explain it to you later. Let's go back first. Qin Chu picked up Huamin and explained as he walked. Lu Yen followed behind them. Gao Ran was still in a daze. He kept searching in his mind. Huamin had a sister who was a god. She could instantly decode the bomb that the experts couldn't. She could even blow up the boat that Yuan Qingqing used to escape. She must be a god. Just as he was thinking, his subordinate came in and reported, Chief Gao, the boat that Yuan Qingqing used to escape exploded for some reason. It's been burned to ashes. What should we do now? What else can we do? Of course we don't have to worry about it. What else can we do? Do you think we can go into the sea to get it? Gao Ran rolled his eyes at his subordinate. This proved that the person who claimed to be Huamin's sister was right. Gao Ran, where's Hui Yanyan? Huamin asked worriedly. Hui Yanyan and the kids were safely rescued by us. We'll record their statements later. Don't worry, her life is not in danger. Okay, that's good. Huamin and his family got into a car. Qin Chu drove while Huamin and Lu Yen sat in the back. After getting into the car, Lu Yen finally let out a sigh of relief. She leaned back and took off the human skin mask on her face. Lu Yen and Huamin had the same father and mother, but they weren't twins. Lu Yen was 3 years younger than Huamin. Huamin was 28 years old, while Lu Yen was 25 years old. She had the face of a very young girl, and she was a stunning beauty at first glance. She looked similar to Huamin. Why did you put on a disguise all of a sudden? Huamin looked at his sister in surprise. It's all because of that pervert Ian. I've been wanting to look for you for a long time, but Dad said no. He's afraid that I'll implicate you. You know, he's old and he's afraid of wolves and tigers. I can't be too willful, so I've been holding back. When I received the news this time, I happened to be doing something in the Golden Triangle, so I rushed over without stopping. You can decode Huasi's bomb? Qin Chu had to admit that he was impressed by Lu Yen. Huasi's letter bomb was so powerful that even the experts couldn't solve it. They could only save one person. But in Lu Yan's hands, it was as easy as playing with a Rubik's Cube. She solved it in a few moves, which was a slap to the faces of those so-called experts. Of course. I made that bomb, how could I not know? Lu Yen crossed her arms over her chest and said arrogantly. You made it? Huamin was surprised. That was my masterpiece 5 years ago. After I developed it, I sold the technology directly to the Russian mafia. Oh, that's Qiao Fei's family. His family has a partnership with the Golden Triangle. Later on, the Golden Triangle used this technology in many places. It's not surprising that the Vietnamese mafia have this technology. You're such a nuisance. Why did you make bombs out of nowhere? Qin Chu complained with a dark expression. Hey, don't I make a living out of this? What can I do? Plus, I didn't think that those Vietnamese monkeys would come looking for you. Otherwise, I would have killed them. Lu Yen came just in time. Qin Chu was really scared out of his wits. Yen. Dad. Huamin was very excited and wanted to ask about his biological parents. Dad's doing great. He's healthy and eats well. Lu Yen smiled. What about Mom? Dr. Linya had always been a mystery. I'll tell you about Mom later. I can't explain it in a few words. At the mention of Mom, Lu Yan's eyes dimmed slightly. Sis. Is this Little Bean? She's so cute. Lu Yen looked down at the sleeping Little Bean with love in her eyes. Chapter 2010. It's Little Bean, they're twins. Huamin hugged his daughter in relief. I know, I've seen their photos, they've always been there. Have you been following us? Huamin was surprised. Lu Yen nodded. Yeah, I've been following you for years, so has Dad. Oh, did you guys see Dad in the States? See Dad? No. Huamin was confused. Oh, right, I forgot to tell you, he was also in disguise, wearing a mask. He's the old man who gave us the balloons for free. After Lu Yen finished speaking, Huamin finally realized what was going on. Oh my God, that's Dad? Yeah. I didn't know, I really didn't know. I thought. Hey, your brother-in-law thought he was someone with bad intentions, so we raised our guard. I was wondering why something was off, so it was. Huamin was surprised and happy. It's okay, we'll have plenty of chances in the future. Once I figure out a way to deal with Ian, we won't have anyone holding us back, and we can meet up whenever we want. Does Xiao Fei know about your trip this time? Qin Chu asked as he drove. Qin Chu, you're such a killjoy. Why did you bring up that big iceberg? Lu Yen pouted. Who's Xiao Fei? Huamin was surprised. Your brother-in-law, Qin Chu answered faintly. Not yet, okay? I'm not married to him yet. Lu Yen corrected him. That doesn't make a difference, you're in Russia for 200 days a year, right? Qin Chu's information was accurate. I'm hiding from Ian, right? I don't have a choice. Huamin was confused, he only knew that his sister had a fiancé in Russia. Yen, what does your boyfriend's family do? Huamin was curious. The biggest Chinese mafia in Russia, they're in the arms business, Lu Yen answered casually. Huamin coughed violently upon hearing this. Cough, 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 sis, are you okay? Lu Yen looked at Huamin nervously. Xiaoyan, how could you be with those people? How dangerous is that? What gangs? What arms dealers? Huamin couldn't accept it. His future brother-in-law was a member of a gang, and he was in the arms business. It was too scary. Seeing Huamin's big reaction, Lu Yen glanced at Qin Chu, who was driving. Brother-in-law, did you not tell my sister what I do for a living? Not yet, you can talk to her yourself. Qin Chu had told Huamin about Professor Ian and Lu Yen. But he didn't tell her what kind of business Lu Yen did or where she went every day. Therefore, Huamin had always thought that his sister was a weak woman who didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. In fact, oh, okay. Sis, I'll tell you. Don't be surprised. That, your sister has been in the mercenary business all these years. I have a mercenary group that accepts business from all over the world. The amount of money is huge. I also have many islands in the Pacific Ocean and my own arsenal. I can develop the most advanced bombs and resell them in all kinds of ways. I also accept all kinds of jobs that others don't dare to accept. As long as the money is right, I'll even dare to kill the Jade Emperor. Lu Yen finished speaking in one breath, and Huamin was dumbfounded. You don't have to be surprised. If I didn't train so hard, I wouldn't be alive now. So, I'm used to it. It's just like you being a doctor and a CEO. It's just a job, Lu Yen comforted Huamin. So, you're the legendary killer? Huamin looked at Lu Yen seriously and asked. Chapter 2011. Assassin? Do you think I'm too low? Sis, I'm a mercenary. Lu Yen, who had always been domineering, was acting cute to Hua Min, which was a rare sight. Mercenary? I've only read about them in novels and on TV. Hua Min was in disbelief. I'll tell you when I have the chance. I'm in a bit of a rush right now and I'm a bit hungry. When we get home, make me some noodles and a helicopter will come to pick me up. You're leaving so soon? Hua Min looked at Lu Yen, a bit disappointed. Yeah, I can't stay for long anyway, I'll give myself away. I have to go back to the Golden Triangle immediately, I still have things to take care of. Oh, right, I'll take care of the Vietnam gang for you. Don't worry about them in the future, Lu Yen emphasized. That's good, I don't have to do it myself. Hua Si won't be able to make it back to Vietnam alive, and Yuan Qingqing was killed in the explosion as well. Kill as many people as you can from the Vietnam gang. Also, Hua Si's mother, Shin Jiani, you must find her. It's best if you can kill her as well, Qin Chu said mercilessly. After this incident, he couldn't be soft-hearted anymore. He almost killed his daughter and wife. Honey. Shin Jiani didn't do anything to hurt us, Hua Min emphasized. If you don't remove the roots, they'll grow again. If Hua Si doesn't make it back, Shin Jiani will hate us to death. She'll come looking for trouble in the future. I can't leave any more problems for you guys. I know you can't do this, but don't worry, leave it to me, it's okay, leave it to me. It's not a big deal. Lu Yen waved her hand. Qin Chu called Su Yu and asked him to drive Pudding back and meet them at South Hill Manor. When Qin Chu and the others arrived, Su Yu and the others were already there. Jing Jixin and Yang Meirong were waiting at home, scared out of their wits. Su Yu didn't dare to tell them what happened until he made sure they were back safely. Yang Meirong hugged Pudding and cried in fear. Mian, I'm so glad you guys are back. When Hua Min got home, he whispered into Lu Yan's ear, my mom doesn't know about my identity yet. Don't tell her. I know, sis. Lu Yan nodded. Wow. This is Pudding, right? So cute. They look exactly the same. Lu Yan couldn't help but run over to hug Pudding. Pudding cautiously took 2 steps back. Yang Meirong was also stunned. This girl is... Oh, she's an expert from the bomb disposal team. Luckily, she arrived in time and saved us, Hua Min explained. Really? Thank you so much, miss. Yang Meirong was very excited and grabbed Lu Yan's hand. Uncle Li, go prepare some food and cook a bowl of hot noodle soup, Hua Min instructed. When they arrived home, Little Bean woke up. When the 2 sisters saw each other, they immediately gave each other a big hug. Children were indeed children. After coming back, they no longer thought about those unpleasant things. They went to play hand in hand and seemed to have forgotten how dangerous the scene was. Yang Meirong went into the kitchen to help cook while Jixin washed fruits to serve everyone. Soon, Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Zhu Lingling, and Gao Ran all arrived. They didn't know about it until later, so they were still scared. The kitchen prepared a bowl of noodles, and Hua Min brought it to Lu Yen. The 2 sisters sat alone in a small room. Lu Yen was also hungry, so she wolfed down the noodles. From time to time, he would look up at Hua Mian and smile happily. Yen, eat slowly. It's too hot, sis, do you like noodles? I'm okay. I'm not picky. Then we're the opposite. I'm very picky. Dad always says that I have the body of a rich girl and the life of a homeless person. Ha. Yen, are you going back to the Golden Triangle? Lu Yen nodded. Then, will it be dangerous? Hua Min asked worriedly. Chapter 2012. I won't, sis. It's not the first time I've done something like this. Don't worry about me. Seeing Hua Min's worried expression, Lu Yan's heart warmed. It felt good to have a sister's concern. Then when will you be done with it? 3 days at the earliest. Where will you go after you're done? I'll go back to Russia. After all, it's safer with Psycho Chiao, Lu Yen said after some thought. Then you have to be careful. Okay. By the way, I received a jade gourd. It's priceless, I gave it to you. I have one too. We got a pair. Lu Yen smiled. Huamin immediately understood. Otherwise, he would have been shocked when he received an expensive gift out of nowhere. Eat slowly. Don't worry, you won't get indigestion. Sis, are you happy now? Lu Yen finished the noodles in her bowl in a few bites. Then, she put down the bowl heavily and looked at Huamin seriously. Yeah, I'm happy. Although I believed in the process, the result is what I wanted. I don't have any big dreams or ambitions in my life. I just want to be with Qin Chu and have children. I want to live a good life. It's that simple. If I have time, I want to go back and be a doctor. Although I work hard at Southside, my life is very fulfilling. I enjoy the rhythm of life, Huamin recalled carefully. That's good. As long as you're happy. Dad's right. Although we're separated from these people and don't dare to acknowledge them, it's worth it for you to live a peaceful life. If Mom knew, she'd be very happy. Lu Yen was slightly moved. Yen, do you spend a lot of time with Dad? Huamin asked softly. Yeah. When I was young, I knew I wasn't an ordinary child. Dad was always in hiding, and it seemed like someone was always looking for him. He spent most of his time in the lab and most of his time on the run with me. After Mom's accident, Dad and I basically ran all over the world. During the run, I learned a lot of survival skills. I even learned how to research biochemical weapons like Dad. I was most interested in explosives. Later, I became braver and dared to fight with the people who wanted to kill me. Dad saw that I could take care of myself, so he went into hiding and never came back. During these years, I stayed in Hong Kong for a few years and even went to school there. I liked a boy. But later, he was shot dead because of me. Lu Yen spoke casually, but Huamin could still feel the fragile heart under her calm face. Later, when I got older, I stopped going to school because I could learn those things after just one look. I traveled all over the world. I liked Italy and Turkey. Although it was dangerous and chaotic, I could get rich there. I liked Dubai too. I could squander money like it was water. It made me feel like I was still alive in this world. Later on, I secretly went to West Point Military Academy in the States. When I graduated, I killed the instructor who abused me and became the FBI's most wanted criminal. Haha. Sis, you can't believe it, right? Do you think what I'm saying is far away from your life? After saying this, Lu Yen smiled sadly. When she looked at Huamin, her eyes were filled with sadness. Yen, you've worked hard all these years. Huamin stood up and hugged Lu Yen. His voice was choked with sobs. Chapter 2013. It's nothing. I'm used to it. Lu Yen pretended to be nonchalant, but Huamin really cared about his little sister. Just then, Lu Yan's watch flashed. She stood up alertly and pressed it. What is it? Speak. Boss, the helicopter will land on South Hill Manor in 15 minutes. Please get ready to leave. Got it. After hanging up, Lu Yen glanced at Huamin. Sis, I'll go now. In fact, Lu Yen didn't want to leave. When can we meet again? Huamin asked. We'll see. I'll arrange it as soon as possible. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on you and send people to protect you and the twins. Don't worry. Okay. Then I'll go now. Lu Yen opened the window and jumped out. Why don't you go out the front door? Aren't you going to say goodbye to Pudding and Little Bean? Huamin was speechless when he saw Lu Yen jump out of the window. No, I'll be even more reluctant to leave if I see the twins. Take care, sis. Then, Lu Yen jumped down from the second floor and disappeared into the night. Huamin felt like everything was just a dream. It wasn't until 5 minutes after Lu Yen disappeared that Huamin came back to his senses. He carried Lu Yan's empty bowl downstairs. She left? Qin Chu asked. Huamin nodded. Because of Qin Chu's repeated reminders, Gao Ran didn't mention Huamin's little sister in front of everyone. When Huamin came downstairs, everyone was sitting around a table. The kitchen had prepared a lot of delicious dishes. They say that one who survives a disaster is destined for good fortune. Come, let's help our goddess Hua calm down, and our baby calm down. Gao Ran raised his wine glass. Uncle Gao, I have something to talk to you about. Go ahead, Pudding. When you were arresting people, did you see a big dumb guy called Dahai? The sea? I didn't notice that. Why? Gao Ran looked at Pudding curiously. That guy used to work for the bad guy. He was involved in our kidnapping, but I turned him against us. At the last moment, he and Auntie Hui Yanyan saved us. I was worried that he would be in danger if he betrayed us, so I asked. I see. Wait a moment, I'll call and ask. With that, Gao Ran immediately called the police station. After hanging up, he said to Pudding, we caught him, but he's seriously injured. He's undergoing surgery in the hospital. He was beaten up by his accomplices. But don't worry, his life isn't in danger. Then I'm going to visit him tomorrow. I promised him that as long as he lets me and my sister go, I'll ask my daddy to give him a lot of money. I'll even help his seriously ill mother operate on her, Pudding said slowly. Wow, not bad. You know how to negotiate. You're good, Pudding. Zhu Lingling lovingly patted Pudding's head. Auntie Lingling, I'm good too. I lured the pursuers away and bought precious time for my sister. In the end, Mommy and I were tied to a bomb. I was so scared. Thank goodness I was lucky, Pudding said as she patted her chest. Everyone didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Mian, this incident was really dangerous. You guys have to be more careful in the future, Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin and advised. Huamin nodded. Huh. Handsome Su, why aren't you talking? You haven't spoken to my mommy since you came in. Are you still mad because my mommy lied to you and sneaked out of the hospital? Pudding looked up at Su Yu and asked. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately looked at Su Yu. Chapter 2014. Little Bean, don't talk nonsense. Su Yu looked embarrassed. I'm not talking nonsense. Everyone can see that you didn't talk to my mommy. So, you're not going to forgive her this time? Ahem. Little Bean, eat your food. Huamin couldn't sit still anymore. This little bitch. I'm not mad at your mommy. Now that you guys are back safely, everyone is happy, Su Yu explained patiently. Then you can talk to my mommy and prove it. Little Bean didn't want to let him go. Pudding, hurry up and teach your sister a lesson. Su Yu immediately asked for help. To his surprise, Pudding glanced at Su Yu's face and said, my sister is right. Handsome Su, you should talk to my mommy. Otherwise, how can we have fun together in the future? Su Yu, Huamin, Pudding, aren't you afraid that your daddy will be jealous if you talk like this? Wei Liao teased them. Is my daddy that narrow-minded? Uncle Wei, you're underestimating my daddy. My daddy is a great hero who saved us all by himself. Fine, you flatter me, I'm too embarrassed to be jealous, Qin Chu joked, which was rare for him. In the end, Su Yu couldn't win against the two little brats. He looked at Huamin awkwardly and said, what happened today was too dangerous. Don't be so impulsive in the future. No, I should say, don't do it in the future. Everyone was scared to death by you guys. Huamin smiled. I know. Thank you. You were worried about us again today. Also, you and Lord Su led so many people to look for us. That's not important. What's important is that you guys came back safely. After Su Yu and Huamin talked, the atmosphere relaxed. At the table, everyone was chatting with each other. After eating, the twins secretly grabbed Su Yu's hand and went back to their room secretly. Handsome Su, we have a present for you. I know. A Versace belt, right? Su Yu said proudly. Damn. How did you know? There must be a mole. Sis, did you tell them? Little Bean said angrily. How is that possible? Are you kidding me? Am I that kind of person? Pudding said proudly. Stop arguing, Qin Ning told me. Su Yu crossed his arms and said proudly. Auntie? How did she tell you? Do you have a secret relationship with her? Wow. Something's up with you. You're having an affair with my auntie behind our backs? Little Bean covered her mouth and laughed. Come on. Little ancestor, that's not how you should use the phrase, okay? Su Yu was speechless. Hurry up and tell us, how did you guys get in touch? The twins asked eagerly. Finally, Su Yu told them about his phone call with Qin Ning. What the hell? Auntie is so careless. How could she tell? Humph. There's no surprise. Little Bean pouted. Pudding handed the present to Su Yu. Take it. We got beaten up for your belt. Stop. It wasn't us. It was me. I got beaten up by Goddess Hua, okay? Little Bean pointed at herself. Su Yu couldn't help but laugh. Little Bean was so cute. You're still laughing? I did it for you. You're crazy. Little Bean protested. Beating you is the right thing to do. Let's see if you dare to go out alone again. I'll teach you a lesson if I beat you up, Su Yu added. Hey, you're so heartless. Do Lord Su and Grandma Su know? Little Bean retorted. Just then, Little Bean remembered something important. Handsome Su, is Auntie arriving soon? Are you going to pick her up at the airport? After all, she called you to tell you the schedule. Pudding tilted her head and looked at Su Yu calmly. Chapter 2015. But I don't know your auntie that well. Su Yu was in a difficult position. No one is born familiar with each other. Do you think you'll get to know each other over time? Don't be shy. Go, or you can drag us with you to pick them up. It won't be awkward, right? Forget it, if the two of you go, I don't think anything good will happen. It'll be even more awkward. The twins and Su Yu began to bicker in the room. When Su Yu walked out with the gift, his face was filled with happiness. Oh, you have a gift? You sure are treated well, Wei Liao teased. You're a super VIP in the twins' eyes, President Su, Zhu Lingling teased. I'm a rare gem, I can't help it, Su Yu said proudly. But how come I heard that the twins were beaten up for this gift? Jiang Xiaowei asked with a smile. Let's not talk about that. I'm asking Huamin. You're too cruel, how could you beat up such young children? They can't even fight back, yet you beat them up. Are you even their mother? Su Yu became angry at the mention of this. He turned to Huamin and asked. Huamin was much calmer. I'm just teaching them how to behave. They can't ignore others for their own selfish reasons. They had good intentions when they bought you a gift, but they almost got into big trouble because of it. They made my uncle and Ning worry for over 4 hours and even alerted the Los Angeles police. I can't tolerate this kind of behavior, and I won't allow my daughters to be so willful. Fine, you always have your reasons. Every time I say one sentence, you'll say 10. I'm too lazy to argue with you. When I get home, I'll tell Grandpa that you beat up the kids. You can explain it to him yourself. Su Yu, are you a man or not? How can you tell Lord Su for no reason? Huamin was speechless. However, this was Su Yu's trump card. I don't want to waste my time talking to you guys, I'm leaving. I'm going to pick up Little Bean and Pudding for dinner this weekend. You two should be busy, you don't have a chance. Suyu glanced at Qin Chu and Huamin. Then, she held his Versace belt and proudly walked away. Huamin and Qin Chu were speechless. After her friends left one after another, the house finally became much quieter. Yang Meirong took the twins back to their room to sleep. Jixin was also a little tired, so after saying goodbye to them, he went upstairs. Huamin and Qin Chu were sitting in the living room downstairs, drinking hot tea by the fireplace. Qin Chu was wearing a black casual shirt with the collar slightly open. Huamin hugged a dark green square pillow and leaned against Qin Chu's chest. The two of them intimately snuggled up to each other, enjoying the quiet night. "What are you thinking about?" Qin Chu asked softly as he played with Huamin's long hair. "Honey, are you mad at me today?" Huamin tilted her head and stared at Qin Chu's face as she asked. She sounded like a spoiled little girl. "Mad? Why would I be mad?" Qin Chu was slightly surprised. He didn't know why Huamin suddenly asked this. "Because I didn't ask you to kill Huasiqian. After all, he caused us so much trouble." Huamin couldn't help but feel uneasy when he thought about what happened. First of all, if Huasiqian didn't die, there would be more trouble in the future. After all, he wasn't someone who would give up easily. Second of all, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to deal with Huasiqian. If he missed this opportunity, he didn't know when he would get another one like this. Chapter 2016. Huamin let Huasiqian go because of her compassion. She was conflicted and didn't know if she did the right thing or not. She didn't know if Qin Chu would hold a grudge against her because of this. She was afraid that this incident would cause a rift between her and Mr. Qin. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Qin Chu smiled and patted Huamin's head. "You always think too much. Why would I be mad at you? Plus, you did the right thing back then. I was blinded by hatred. If I made a move and someone took a picture of it, I would be guilty of murder. Even though I killed bad people, I'm not a police officer. I don't have the right to bring bad people to justice. Evil people will be punished by the heavens. I wouldn't feel bad even if Huasiqian died 100 times over for what he did, but he shouldn't have ended it with my own hands. I think a person like him would be too comfortable if he just died. It would be better for him to stay in prison for the rest of his life. That way, he could face the long years of prison and reflect on all the crimes he committed. Whether it's Hu Zhenghai, Jiang Linyue, Wang Shasha, or Song Yishe, he has to give justice to those who died for no reason. I'll do what I have to do. I'll slowly defeat him, collect information on his crimes, and finally bury everything he has. That's true revenge, and it's not as simple as killing him." Mr. Qin had a cold personality and rarely spoke for a long time. However, he knew that if he didn't explain things clearly this time, Huamin's thoughts would run wild. Therefore, he patiently explained his thoughts to Huamin. Huamin was very happy to hear this. She leaned her head against Qin Chu's chest. "Honey, you're the best. You'll always be a hero in my heart." Huamin was full of admiration for Qin Chu. Just like tonight, he fought against Huasi's men all by himself. Then, he fought Huasi to the death. In the end, he had to face life and death with Huamin and Little Bean. This man had endured too much pressure. If anyone told her that her husband was weak and was no longer the same as before, she would be the first to reject them. Perhaps after becoming a father, Qin Chu had the additional responsibility of being a father and the love of being a father. But that didn't mean that he was soft-hearted and indecisive. It didn't mean that he wasn't strong. It was just that he was more willing to endure and wait for an opportunity. Compared to Qin Chu, Suyu often lost because he wasn't steady enough. He was still a little impulsive, so he couldn't win Huamin's heart no matter what. As for Qin Chu, whether he was young or now, there was always something about him that Huamin admired and was obsessed with. Who said that? When two people were together, the best relationship wasn't mutual respect, but mutual admiration. They should always admire and love each other, and then spend the rest of their lives together, not hate, annoyance, or dislike. Okay, Dr. Hua. Don't flatter me. I haven't had the chance to settle accounts with you for threatening me today. Qin Chu lowered his head and used the tip of his nose to rub Hua Min's face lovingly. Settle, what accounts? Hua Min continued to play dumb. I'm not playing dumb, honey. Who was the one who threatened me tonight? She said that if I saved her, she would never forgive me. She's so stubborn. Tell me, how should I punish you? Qin Chu lowered his head and whispered into Hua Min's ear. Chapter 2017. I was in a hurry. I didn't mean what I said. Hua Min felt guilty. Really? How come I didn't see it? Why do I feel like you were ready to die? You're really good at threatening your husband. Dr. Hua, I really underestimated you. Qin Chu still had lingering fears when he remembered how crazy Hua Min was back then. She didn't even need to think for a long time before she was sure that he would go and save Little Bean. A mother could sacrifice her life for her child at any time. This was something that anyone could understand. However, as Hua Min's husband and the man who loved her the most, Qin Chu couldn't accept that his wife left them so easily and left him to take care of their 2 3-year-old babies. To Qin Chu, this was extremely cruel. Ahem. Mr. Qin, please calm down. It's all in the past. Don't bring it up, okay? Don't brush me off. It's not over yet. Tell me, how are you going to make it up to me? Qin Chu slowly lowered his body and almost pressed Hua Min under his body. His cool lips were less than 3 centimeters away from Hua Min's cherry lips. Mr. Qin was extremely seductive, and Hua Min was completely captivated. Then, how are you going to make it up to me? Hua Min swallowed and continued to feel guilty. What do you think? I don't know. Hua Min continued to play dumb. You don't need to know. Just feel it. Then, Mr. Qin lowered his body and kissed Hua Min intensely. Honey, this is the living room. There are so many people here. There were a lot of servants at South Hill Manor, and they were kissing in the living room on the 1st floor. Luckily, Uncle Lee was very understanding. He waved his hand and asked everyone to leave, giving the couple some quiet space. Qin Chu didn't let go of Hua Min until they were both out of breath. Are you going to say that you're leaving us again? Mr. Qin asked domineeringly. I didn't do it on purpose. Let's see if you still dare to do it. Qin Chu purposely bit her lips lightly and teased her. Get up. Don't let anyone see. It's so embarrassing. Hua Min immediately pushed Qin Chu away, sat up, and covered her red cheeks. Honey, are you hinting that we should go back to our room? Qin Chu's mouth. Hua Min said this. No, that's not what I meant. Mr. Qin, don't bully me, Hua Min yelled. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Let's go to bed. You really need a good rest today. Although I want to eat you, I'm not in a hurry. You should recover first. Then, Qin Chu got up, picked up Hua Min, and carried her up to the bedroom on the 2nd floor. The terrible day was finally over. Hua Min slept soundly in Qin Chu's arms. The next morning, Qin Chu and Hua Min went to the company for a meeting. Suyu drove a Rolls-Royce to pick up the twins and drove them to the airport. Auntie is about to land. Yay! I didn't think she'd come so soon. Little Bean was in a good mood. Auntie must be worried about us. That's why she flew here in such a hurry, right? Pudding analyzed calmly. So Auntie really didn't come because she wanted to see handsome Su? Little Bean's words almost made Suyu, who was driving, spit out his drink. I'm telling you, when Qin Ning gets off the plane, you two better behave yourselves. Don't talk nonsense. Suyu was scared of the twins. Chapter 2018. Handsome Sue, don't be nervous. Little Bean comforted Suyu. I'm not nervous, Suyu retorted. Calm down. Don't fall in love with my auntie at first sight. After all, she's so pretty. Little Bean covered her mouth and continued to laugh. In the end, Suyu decided to ignore them. They didn't look like people who had just been through a disaster. They were clearly two little devils who had come back to life. Inside the arrivals hall of Sea City International Airport, Qin Ning walked out with a black and white suitcase. She was wearing light blue jeans and black boots. He was wearing a heavy black leather jacket with a white wool collar. His long hair was naturally scattered. She also wore a black baseball cap and sunglasses that covered half of her face. She looked very fashionable. Perhaps because she grew up in the States, Qin Ning liked very fashionable things. Basically, she was constantly experimenting with different styles. Auntie, over here. The twins waved their hands. Qin Ning ran over excitedly with her luggage. Pudding, Little Bean. She knelt down and hugged the twins excitedly. It took her a while to calm down. Thank goodness you guys are okay. You scared me. Qin Ning let out a sigh of relief. She had been thinking about all sorts of things on the plane and didn't sleep well. Therefore, she had dark circles under her eyes and kept thinking about the kids. She didn't expect that when she landed, the kids would be fine. How lucky. Auntie, this is Handsome Sue. Pudding didn't forget to play matchmaker and introduced Qin Ning to him. Qin Ning looked up and saw Suyu standing on the side, wearing a navy blue casual jacket. Hello. Hello, they greeted awkwardly. Let's get in the car first. Suyu took Qin Ning's luggage and led them out. Pudding and Little Bean each held Qin Ning's hand happily. Where are Daddy and Mommy? Qin Ning asked. They're so busy. They're all at the company, and they have to record statements at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Daddy said you can come home with us to rest. But since you came from so far away, Handsome Sue has to treat you to a meal. After all, he's the host, right? Isn't that right, Handsome Sue? Little Bean asked. Sure, what do you want to eat? Suyu nodded. I'm not that hungry, I already ate on the plane. You don't have to be so polite, Qin Ning politely declined. Auntie, you don't have to be so polite. Handsome Sue is super rich. You don't have to worry about him going broke. Little Bean made a face. There's a new Japanese restaurant on Dongyang Street. Handsome Sue, my auntie likes sashimi. Do you want to take us there? Pudding even picked a place. You too. You won't be satisfied until I'm dead, right? Suyu laughed as he drove. Unable to dissuade the twins, Suyu picked up Qin Ning and drove them back to South Hill Manor. Then, they went straight to a Japanese restaurant, GK headquarters. At the morning meeting, Qin Chu announced that he would continue to hold the position of CEO, while Huamin also stepped down. All the executives were shocked. President Hua. You've done a good job. You can help President Qin here. With both of you here, we'll be more at ease. Why don't you stay? A few executives didn't want Huamin to leave and tried to persuade him. President Qin can handle it alone. It's better for me to step back. Huamin smiled. President Hua. Are you going home to take care of the kids? That's not like you, Yang couldn't help but ask. Chapter 2019. Do I look like someone who only knows how to take care of kids at home? Huamin smiled as he looked at Assistant Yang. Of course not, that's why I'm curious. Why are you quitting? I just don't think this job suits me. I've been in this position for the past 3 years to temporarily replace President Qin. Now that he's back, I can finally retire. Then you're going to. Assistant Yang could vaguely guess Huamin's intentions. Bella was the first to react, and she quickly said, President Hua, you're going back to South Side, right? Yes. Hua Min nodded. All of the executives were shocked. When I was young, my dream was to be a doctor, and it's still the same after I grew up. Being a doctor is my biggest dream and goal. I've been working hard to achieve it, but now that President Qin is back, I have nothing to worry about. So, I want to go back to my original position. After Hua Min finished speaking, the entire room fell silent. They might not understand how much money a doctor could make. Their annual salary might not even be as much as Hua Min's next contract. However, in this world, there were many things that couldn't be measured by money. No matter how much money you had, you couldn't buy time, happiness, or a person's dreams and ambitions. Many people would lose their way and forget their original intentions, but Hua Min was still able to stay true to her heart. This was why Qin Chu favored her so much. Thank you for your support over the past 3 years. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to GK. President Qin and I thank you all. Please continue to work hard, and I hope that we can continue to do better. Then, Hua Min took 2 steps back, stood up, and bowed deeply to all of his colleagues. Oh, President Hua, don't do this, we don't deserve it. Everyone panicked. After saying that, Hua Min whispered something to Qin Chu. Then, he turned around and said, I still have some personal matters to attend to. You guys continue with the meeting. From today onwards, CEO Qin will officially return to his original job. Everyone, please work hard on the handover. After that, Hua Min turned around and walked out of the meeting room. Qin Chu continued the meeting calmly. Hua Min drove the Audi R8 to the first hospital. There were 3 special patients living here, Hua Yanyan, Dahai, and Hua Xiqian. These people were all closely related to the kidnapping case. Hua Min had to see them. The person she missed the most was Hua Yanyan. Hua Yanyan had played a huge role in this incident. She even fell out with Hua Si and let her daughter go behind his back. In the end, Wan Xingxing flew into a rage out of humiliation. She ordered her subordinates to beat up Hua Yanyan and break 2 of her ribs. Apparently, the child was also scared out of her wits. Hua Min didn't go out last night because it was too late. Today, after handing over his work to the company, he felt relaxed and could finally take care of these troublesome matters. Inside the hospital room when Hua Min walked in, Tian was tiptoeing to feed Hua Yanyan porridge. Mommy, slow down. It's hot, the little girl said considerately. Hua Min's eyes teared up. It was said that the children of poor families matured early. It seemed that it was true. Hua Yanyan's daughter wasn't much older than Pudding Little Bean, but she was already a little girl. Yanyan. Hua Min said softly and then walked out. Mian, you're here. Hua Yanyan saw Hua Min walk in and immediately felt a sense of familiarity. She changed from the original Hua Min to Hua Mian. This was a detail that Hua Min didn't overlook. How are you feeling today? Does it still hurt? Hua Min walked over and asked softly. Chapter 2020. It doesn't hurt anymore. The doctor said I'm fine. Broken ribs are a small matter and can be fixed. How are you? Are you hurt? Hua Yanyan asked anxiously. No, we're fine. Hua Min squatted down and patted Tiantian's head. Good baby. Here, give it to Auntie. Auntie will feed your mommy. You should rest for a while. Tian nodded and handed the congee to Hua Min. Hua Min carefully fed Hua Yanyan. You're still weak. Rest well and don't think about anything else. Mian. How is Si? Hua Yanyan knew that her brother had become a bad guy, but she was still worried about him. Hua Min's hand that was holding the congee paused. The police arrested him and he's awaiting trial. Sigh, he's so stupid. How did he end up like this? Mian, listen to me, Si wasn't like this before. You know that he's unreliable and bad-tempered, but he's not crazy. The reason why this happened was because of that Vietnamese woman. Really, that woman is evil. C didn't have a mind of his own and listened to everything she said. You have to get the police to arrest her. She's the main culprit and C is at most an accomplice. I know, Yen Yen. It was Yuan Qingqing's idea. Hua Si was only used by her as a pawn. Did the police arrest her? Hua Yen Yen asked anxiously. No, because she's dead. Dead? Hua Yen Yen froze. Yeah. She left Hua Si behind and got onto a boat. She wanted to go to the international waters, but the boat exploded for some reason. Nothing was left of her. It's karma. That evil woman deserves to die. Hua Yen Yen clenched her teeth in hatred. Yen Yen, thank you so much. Thank you for risking your life to let my daughter go. Hua Min put down the bowl of congee and held Hua Yen Yen's hand gratefully. Don't say that. You've been good to me. I, Hua Yen Yen, am not an ungrateful person. I don't want to do something so heartless. Even if C kidnapped someone else's child, would still let them go. After all, I don't want him to do such a heartless thing. After going through so many things, Hua Yen Yen's T believe in karma and karma. So, she felt like she made the right decision. What? What's your plan? Hua Hua. I don't know. I can't do much in my current state. After I recover and get discharged, I want to go to the prison to see C. If I have the chance, I want to go to Vietnam to bring my mom back. I don't think she has the guts to come back. After all, Hua Xiqian isn't dead, Hua Min reminded her. Hua Xiqian won't kill my mother, right? My brother was arrested and will go to jail. It's time to put an end to this. I don't have a single family left, only my mother is still in Vietnam. I don't want her to be in a foreign country. I want to find her. Hua Yen Yen's voice was small, but Hua Min could tell that she was very pitiful. Yen Yen, don't worry about your injuries. Tian should start kindergarten soon. After you're discharged, I'll give you a 2-bedroom house owned by GK. You can move in there and I'll arrange your child's school. If you want, you can choose to work at GK, or I'll give you some money to open your own store. It'll be enough for you and your child to survive. Mian, don't be so nice to me. You don't owe me anything. It's my duty to save your daughter. Hua Yen Yen was flattered. Chapter 2021. No one should do this for anyone. I'm very grateful for what you've done for my daughter and me. You deserve this. You're not in a good condition right now, so take it. Don't be polite with me. If you have any difficulties, just let me know. Even though we're not biological sisters, we've known each other since we were kids. I really don't want to see you in such a difficult situation. Hua Min comforted her. Before Hua Yen Yen could say anything, Hua Min added, even if you don't think for yourself, you have to think for your child. She's still young, so you have to provide her with a good environment and atmosphere. Okay, I understand that you're doing this for my sake. You've always been a far-sighted person. Anyway, thank you. Hua Yen Yen was very grateful that Hua Min had arranged everything for her. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Hua Min turned around and saw that it was Shen Mingxi. I'm here to see Hua Yen Yen. Shen Mingxi was holding a bouquet of heavenly fragrant lilies in his hand. His voice was a little cold. He was as cold as Qin Chu and Rick. Apparently, the person he was closest to was Su Yu. Therefore, the outside world couldn't figure out what was going on in this rich guy's mind. Oh, okay. You guys talk, I'll go out first. Before he left, Hua Min didn't forget to remind Hua Yen Yen, don't worry and don't think too much. I'll take the child with me in a bit. She'll stay at my place until you're discharged. Otherwise, staying at the hospital will be too tiring. Okay. Hua Yen Yen looked at Hua Min gratefully again. Hua Min picked up Tian from the floor. Baby, let's go to Auntie's house and play with the little sisters, okay? Auntie, is your house fun? Of course, Auntie has an amusement park and 2 cute little sisters. There are also lots of toys. Hua Min smiled. Really? Okay. But Mommy's still sick. The little girl looked at Hua Yanyan worriedly. Don't worry, when Mommy recovers, we'll come and pick her up. You can stay at Auntie's house for the next few days, okay? Tian, go with me and listen to me, Hua Yanyan said to her daughter. Finally, Tian and Hua Mian walked out of the hospital room. Tian, and Tian, and Tian, and Tian, Hua, Shen said, Tiantians and Tian, Hua were. You should leave. If Wei Ying sees you, she'll misunderstand. Hua Yanyan didn't dare to look at Shen Mingxi's face. When she got married later on, she had already given up on this man's wishful thinking. Wei Ying and I already signed the divorce papers, Shen Mingxi said calmly, as if he was stating a fact. Hua Yanyan's eyes widened as she stared at him in disbelief. How is that possible? Hua Yanyan couldn't believe it. It's true, Shen Mingxi said calmly. On the other side of the hospital room, Hua Min walked in and saw a nurse changing a man's bandages. The man's injuries were similar to Hua Xiqian's. He had multiple internal injuries, including a laceration to his spleen and stomach. Hello, are you Mr. Sun Dahai? Hua Min walked in, holding Tiantian's hand. Who are you? The man looked at Hua Min as if he didn't know him. He was one of Hua Min's men and was responsible for looking after the twins. He had never seen Hua Min before, so he was a little surprised. I'm Hua Min. I'm the twins' mother. You should know Pudding, right? Hua Min asked. Chapter 2022. Pudding? Yeah. I know that little brat. Dahai chuckled. Yeah, I'm here to visit you on behalf of Pudding. She'll be here later. Are the 2 kids okay? Dahai asked with concern. No, they're fine, thank you. You don't have to thank me. Pudding said that your family is rich and will give me a lot of money to treat my mother. Dahai was a stubborn person and still remembered the 2 things that Pudding promised him. Hua Min nodded. Don't worry, just focus on recovering. I've already deposited the money into your bank account, 3 million yuan. 3 million? The man was shocked. Yes, this money is enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life. Also, we told the police that we'll atone for your crimes and won't let you go to jail. As for your mother, don't worry, I've already sent someone to bring her to South Side. I'll go to South Side tomorrow and contact a few neurosurgeons to examine her and perform surgery immediately. That's great. Dahai finally let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like he made the right move. He had the money and his mother's illness was cured. It seemed like he was right to trust Pudding. Take care of yourself, the nurses will take care of you for the next few days. Call me if you need anything, this is my phone number. Hua Min left him a business card and left with Tiantian's hand in his. Finally, they arrived at the door of the last room and saw a lot of bodyguards from afar. Miss Hua. It seemed like all of Hua Xiqian's subordinates knew who Hua Min was. How is he? President Hua is seriously injured and is still in intensive care. Can I go in and take a look? Hua Min asked. Wait, Miss Yen Ruoshi is inside. I'll call her out. Only one person can go in at a time. Then, the subordinate opened the door and went to report. Yen Ruoshi was holding a glass of water and feeding Hua Xiqian water with a straw. He was indeed seriously injured. His lungs were bleeding badly and if he was sent here any later, he would have died. Only a cockroach like Hua Xiqian could survive Hua Xi's torture. Qian, drink a few more mouthfuls. The doctor said that drinking more water is good for your recovery. When Yen Ruoshi heard that Hua Xiqian had almost died, she cried her eyes out and took care of him without rest. However, Hua Xiqian still did not appreciate it. Take it. Get out. Boss, Miss Hua is here, his subordinate reported. Upon hearing that Hua Min had arrived, Hua Xiqian's eyes immediately lit up. Let her in. Are you happy that Hua Min is here? I really don't know what you're so proud of. If it weren't for her, would you have become like this? I'm going to give her a good scolding. Yan Ruoshi was furious when she heard that Hua Min was here. Without waiting for Hua Xiqian to speak, he ran out angrily. The moment he stepped out, he bumped into Hua Min. Hua Min, don't you think he's in enough trouble? Yan Ruoshi roared as she pointed at Hua Min. Miss Yan, what do you mean by that? Don't play dumb with me. If it weren't for you, Qian Qian wouldn't have been injured so badly. He almost died. Do you know that? Do you still have a conscience? Yan Ruoshi accused Hua Min with tears in her eyes. Do you know the details of this incident? Hua Min looked at Yan Ruoshi curiously. I don't need to know. I know it's because of you. Otherwise, with Qian Qian's brain, he wouldn't have been so careless and gotten kidnapped. He went because he was worried about you. You really got him killed. How dare you come here? Whether I come or not has nothing to do with you. As far as I know, you're not related to him. You. Yan Ruoshi did not expect Hua Min to be so stubborn. She was so angry that she was speechless. Hua Min did not like the arrogant attitude of these princess-like girls, so he spoke rudely and did not give her any face. Miss Hua, please. The boss wants you in. One of his subordinates walked over and looked at Hua Min politely. Chapter 2023. I won't let her go. Yan Ruoshi was so angry that she tried to stop Hua Min. Miss Yan, please don't make it difficult for us. This is what the boss wants. In the end, Yan Ruoshi watched helplessly as Hua Min walked into the hospital room. She took Tian Tian to the OB/GYN department of the first hospital and had head nurse Su take a look at her. Then, she went in alone to visit Hua Xiqian. He was indeed in a terrible state, with white bandages all over his body. Hua Min had already seen his medical record, and it was indeed horrifying. Hua Si was extremely cruel. He tortured Hua Xiqian so badly that he almost died. There were dozens of wounds all over his body. The two most serious cuts were on his thighs. The arteries in his thighs were almost damaged, and his spleen was damaged as well. His lungs were also bleeding internally. He had undergone major surgery and was still under observation. If his body didn't become infected within 48 hours, he would be out of danger. Mian, you're here? Hua Xiqian looked at Hua Min weakly. Yeah, I came to see if you're dead, Hua Min said deliberately with a cold expression on his face. Huh, you're so soft-hearted. I know you're worried about me, so you came to see me. Don't flatter yourself. Who's worried about you? Hua Min glared at him. Are the twins hurt? No, they're fine. What about you? Are you hurt anywhere? I'm fine. Hua Min was fine aside from his swollen cheeks from being slapped by Hua Si. That's good. Hua Xiqian sighed in relief. Do you know that you almost died because of Hua Si's injuries? Hua Min looked at him seriously and asked. I know. That bastard must hate me to death. He must want to kill me. If you knew he would treat you like that, why did you still come? Because if I don't go, you'll be in trouble. Because in his eyes, we're both enemies. If I don't go, he'll vent all his anger on you. If it were you, you probably wouldn't have lasted until now. Hua Xiqian said half-jokingly. But, is it worth it? Hua Min asked in a low voice. Until now, she still refused to admit that Hua Xiqian loved her, so Hua Min still found it hard to understand her actions. Of course it's worth it. You've known me for so many years, do you think I'm the kind of person who would make a loss? Hua Xiqian chuckled. And, if it weren't for you, I reckon that Qin Chu would have already killed me, right? Hua Xiqian tried hard to recall that scene. He vaguely remembered how Qin Chu angrily grabbed his collar with a knife and wanted to kill him, but he didn't. Hua Min must have said something to him. My husband isn't a murderer. Someone like you, who has done all kinds of evil, you should be judged by the law. Hua Min looked at Hua Xiqian coldly. Come here. Hua Xiqian gestured with his finger. What? Hua Min cautiously took 2 steps back. Look at me like an idiot. Come here, I won't do anything to you. You don't have to be wary of me. I'm already in this state, what can I do to you? Ha. Hua Xiqian shook his head and smiled helplessly. Hua Xiqian hesitated for a while before slowly walking over. Look at you, you're so disobedient. I warned you before to be careful, our enemy is back, but you didn't listen. You knew Hua Si was back then? Hua Min looked at him in surprise. Of course, who else do you think I was talking about? No wonder I felt like someone was following me. It seems like I was targeted a long time ago. Yeah, Hua Si is so powerful now that he's back. It's not because he's smart, it's because of that bitch, Yuan Qingqing. Oh right, I heard that woman's boat exploded. Is she dead? Hua Xiqian asked. Hua Min nodded. Who did it? Hua Xiqian asked the key question. Chapter 2024. What does that have to do with you? Lu Yan's sudden appearance made the whole thing very confusing. However, because of her special status, Hua Min, Qin Chu, and Gao Ran decided to keep it a secret. Therefore, even if the municipal bureau recorded a statement, no one would bring it up. They would only say that someone planted explosives on the boat. Perhaps Hua Si's subordinates had betrayed him. Mian, you seem to be hiding something from me. Hua Xiqian smiled meaningfully. You should focus on getting better. Don't think about these useless things. You should thank the Harmonious Society for saving you, okay? I won't force you if you don't want to tell me. Anyways, it's over. Hua Si's problem is solved, but Shinjiani isn't back yet. You can't let your guard down, Hua Xiqian reminded her. You should worry about yourself. I don't need you to worry about me. Then, Hua Min turned around and walked out. Mian. Hua Xiqian suddenly put his mouth on hers. What? Hua Min stopped at the door without looking back. Yesterday. Everything I said to you, I meant it, so? Hua Min turned around and looked at him. So, can you consider me, no? Hua Xiqian, put away your thoughts. We're not even friends anymore. From now on, we can only be enemies. Take care of yourself. Then, Hua Min opened the door and walked out heartlessly. Hua Xiqian couldn't be forgiven. The main reason was that every time Hua Min thought about how Mr. Qin pushed her, she would feel extremely sad. It was all because of that psycho Hua Xiqian. Therefore, she couldn't be soft-hearted anymore. That person actually hoped that she would give him a chance and hope. How shameless. Hua Min breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he went to the head nurse's office, picked up Tian Tian, and drove home. When she reached home, she realized that the twins were not home yet. She called Su Yu and found out that Qin Ning had arrived and they were having dinner. Uncle Li, prepare some food for the baby. She's my friend's child and will be staying with us for a few days. Let her stay in the same room as Pudding and the others. There's a spare bed at home. Bring one over. Okay, a young lady. Inside the Japanese restaurant, Suyu was eating with the twins and Qin Ning when he suddenly saw Jian Tong and her best friend walk in. Darling, you're here too. Jian Tong saw Suyu and walked over to greet Suyu. Moreover, he actually used the word dear, which gave people goosebumps. The babies are back? Seeing the twins, Jian Tong pretended to be happy. I'm sorry, Miss Jian. We don't know you that well. Don't always come up to us. It's annoying. Little Bean didn't give her face at all. Pudding, Auntie will be sad if you say that. Auntie, I'm Little Bean. Jian Tong, This is. Qin Ning didn't know about the Chinese entertainment industry, so she didn't know that Jian Tong was a celebrity. Auntie, she's an actress under Handsome Sue's company. She's an actress, understand? Qin Ning, Jian Tong, Little Bean, how can you talk to Auntie Jian Tong like that? Mommy told us to be polite. Pudding scolded her sister. Then, she said to Qin Ning, Auntie, you don't have to listen to Little Bean. Auntie Jian Tong isn't an actress. She's just an actress who stars in small movies and family dramas. After hearing Pudding's introduction, Qin Ning felt that Little Bean was better. Jian Tong's face immediately darkened. Chapter 2025. Honey. Jian Tong looked at Suyu with tears in her eyes, hoping that her boss would take pity on her and stand up for her. Unexpectedly, before Suyu could say anything, Pudding immediately said, Auntie Jian, you're not young anymore and you're a public figure. Is it really okay for you to call your boss darling every time you speak? Even if you're a bitch, you shouldn't be so shameless. Women need to know how to respect themselves. Jian Tong, Qin Ning was confused, but she understood that her two nieces didn't like this woman named Jian Tong. Ahem. Jian Tong, why don't you go eat first? We'll talk about it at the company. Sue, Auntie Jian, don't pester him. Men hate women who pester them. Just leave. We still have to eat, Little Bean said sarcastically. Jian Tong slowly became angry and tried to hold back her laughter. Okay, you guys eat. I'll go now. The moment she turned around, Jian Tong's face turned cold. You two little bastards. Just you wait. I'll take care of you when I have the chance. Jian Tong gritted her teeth. After Jian Tong left, Qin Ning asked tentatively, was that your girlfriend? Suyu was about to speak when Pudding and Little Bean answered in unison, no. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Little ancestors, she asked me, not you guys. The answer is the same no matter who you ask. How could a scheming bitch like her be Handsome Sue's girlfriend? Handsome Sue wouldn't be so tasteless, Little Bean said. Pudding sipped her juice and glanced at Suyu's face. Yeah. If I were a man, I wouldn't even want a woman like Jian Tong. She's dirty and disgusting. Suyu, is she as bad as you say? Did you two bully her? Qin Ning asked with a smile. We're not that bored. Why would we bully a girl? We only know how to expose all kinds of bitches. Pudding explained. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. Next topic. Suyu was really going to lose to the two of them. However, due to the fact that he doted on the two of them, he didn't think it was a good thing to make things difficult for Jian Tong. On the other side, Jian Tong and her daughter were sitting in a small private room. They were in a bad mood. Tong, what's wrong? You look so sullen. Why didn't these two little things stay in the US? Why did they come back? Seriously. I'm so frustrated. Jian Tong gritted her teeth. You mean, the two by President Sue's side? Her best friend asked. Jian Tong nodded with an unsightly expression. These two kids have a lot of background. You know that President Sue likes their mommy, so he loves them as well. I heard that not only President Sue, but even his family likes them very much. They're quite cute. What's so cute about them? They're not cute at all. They don't look like 3-year-old kids at all. Their words are so vicious. As long as they're here, President Sue and I can't be together. Didn't you see that they brought a woman with them? I think they're purposely finding a woman for President Sue. No, I have to think of a way. I can't just sit here and do nothing. Jian Tong felt a sense of crisis. She finally had the chance to create a scandal with Suyu, but she didn't want Suyu to hurt her. Whether it was true or not, the outside world would treat it as if it were true. If the twins ruined it, all her years of hard work would go down the drain. Therefore, she took this matter very seriously. What do you want to do? Her best friend looked at Jian Tong carefully. I have to think of a way to make those two little brats disappear, Jian Tong said viciously. Chapter 2026. How can I do that? You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I just think that they're an eyesore. They keep ruining my plans. Jian Tong lost her appetite at the thought of the twins. On the other hand, after the twins finished eating, Suyu drove them back to South Hill Manor. When they got into the car, Pudding pushed Qin Ning into the passenger seat. It made Qin Ning feel very awkward. Suyu drove them to the door and left immediately because he had something to do. After they got out of the car, Pudding asked Qin Ning, Auntie, is handsome Su a good person? He's okay. I don't know much about him. It's okay. You can get to know him better, Pudding interrupted. Come on. Little ancestors, I came back to see you guys. I was so worried about you guys. Don't joke with me. I have to go see my sister-in-law. Then, Qin Ning strode inside, anxious to see Huamin. When Qin Chu came home from work, the whole family was chatting. Qin Ning's arrival made the family even livelier. Hui Yinyan's daughter, Tian Tian, was staying with them for the time being. The twins were very happy because they had a new friend. The next morning after Qin Chu went to work, Huamin drove out as well. Inside a prison in North Hill Manor, through Gao Ran's contact, Huamin went to see Huasi alone. You have less than 15 minutes to talk. Make good use of the time, the prison guard reminded him. Huamin nodded. When Huasi was brought out, his head was already shaved. He was wearing prison clothes and looked haggard. When he looked up and saw Huamin, he was surprised. He didn't expect Huamin to come see him. After they sat down, they picked up the phone through the glass. You're not dead? So, you sacrificed your daughter? Huasi smiled viciously. He was very proud of the letter bomb he planted. I'm sorry to disappoint you. My daughter and I are still alive. We're not dead. That's impossible. Huamin looked at Huasi's calm face in disbelief. I have no reason to lie to you. You won't be able to deactivate that bomb in a short period of time. It's impossible that it didn't explode. Someone has to die. Maybe I'm just too lucky. Our bomb was successfully defused. Oh, no, it should be decoded successfully. Who helped you? I don't believe it. Huasi was visibly agitated. This is also a serious problem that I want to talk to you about. Huasi-chan, you keep saying that you hate me, saying that I hurt you, hurt your family, but do you know that I'm not related to Huamin at all? We're not related by blood, because I'm not Hua Jinghai's daughter, that's impossible. Huasi seemed to think that Huamin was making up stories. Believe it or not, I'm just stating the truth. I did see Hua Jinghai before he died, but I didn't kill him. I don't know how he died, but I didn't destroy your family. You treated me as your enemy and almost killed my daughter and I, so you had to pay the price. Also, do you know what happened to the woman you loved, Wan Qingqing? What happened to Qingqing? Huasi seemed very nervous. You might not know this, but she was using you from the beginning. The boat and the people she prepared were all arranged by herself. She lied to you about going to another country to coax you, but she still wanted to go back to Vietnam. I think she and your mafia boss set up a trap to take advantage of your hatred to cheat money. Even if you don't get caught for helping you, you might get killed if you go back. So, that woman, she didn't like you at all. She bought you just to use you. Nonsense, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Qingqing is that kind of person. Huasi roared. Prisoner, watch your emotions, the prison guard warned. Chapter 2027. It's okay if you don't believe me, but it doesn't matter now because Ruan Qingqing is dead. Dead? No, that's impossible. Qingqing is so smart. How could she die? Perhaps this is what they call evil doers are doomed to destruction. When Ruan Qingqing was escaping, the boat exploded. Her body is gone. All the money she cared about turned into ashes. This time, she can't go back to Vietnam, and you can't go back either. Did you know that? Even though your crimes aren't enough to warrant the death penalty, you will at least be sentenced to 20 years. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. When you come out, you will be an old man with one foot in the grave. Huasi, take a good look at yourself. How stupid are you? Everyone says that Huasi Qian is scolding you, but you are such a disappointment. You don't have to care about what I do. Huasi was agitated. You think too much. As my enemy, do you think I would care about you? I want you to die right now. I'm just here to check on Yan Yan. After all, you are one of the few family members she has. Yan Yan used to be ridiculous, but after what happened in the past few years, she has changed. She has calmed down and will start a new life. As for you, you won't have the chance. Take care of yourself. After speaking, Huamin got up to leave. Wait. Huamin, Huasi suddenly shouted. What is it? Who solved the mother-son bomb? Huasi always thought that this bomb was the most perfect and insane design. He even thought that Huamin loved his children so much that he would sacrifice himself for them. He didn't think that such a difficult bomb would be solved by someone else. He simply couldn't accept it. The person who developed it. After saying these words, Huamin walked away without looking back. Huasi was left standing there in a daze. He seemed to be thinking about the meaning behind Huamin's words. After leaving prison, Huamin drove to South Side. He had a meeting with President Wu and a few other neurosurgeons to prepare for Dahai's mother's surgery. After a whole day, Huamin was exhausted. When they got home, Qin Chu was already home. Everyone was in the living room waiting for Huamin to come back for dinner. Mommy's back. Little Bean stood up. Sis-in-law, you don't have to work anymore. Why are you still so busy? Qin Ning smiled. There are a lot of messy things. Honey, have you settled things at Southside? Qin Chu was more concerned about when his wife would go back to become a doctor. It's done. President Wu said that I can go to work at any time. I'll perform the surgery for Dahai's mother tomorrow. Mommy, you're amazing. Pudding gave her a thumbs up. Aren't you embarrassed to say that? You were the one who promised her. Huamin laughed. I was just trying to save my own life. You have to give your daughter a thumbs up, okay? Pudding said proudly. Yes, 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 you're the best. Alright, ancestor, let's go eat. I'm starving. When Huamin said that he was hungry, Uncle Li immediately told the kitchen to prepare dinner. The whole family gathered around. The twins held Tiantian's hand and the three of them sat next to each other lovingly. Just then, Qin Chu received a phone call. It was from Gao Ran. On the phone, Gao Ran told Qin Chu a shocking piece of news. When Qin Chu heard it, his expression changed slightly. Then, he glanced at Huamin, who wasn't far away. What happened, honey? Huamin asked anxiously. Chapter 2028. Huasi. Something happened to him, Qin Chu replied faintly. What happened? Huamin froze. Huasi is dead, dead? How did he die? Huamin was dumbfounded. Suicide. The news just came from prison. Mian. Did you tell him something? I told him that Yuan Qingqing was dead. He must have lost all hope, Huamin said quietly. I see. It's good that he's dead. Actually, I thought about it. Even if Hua Xiqian didn't die, I wouldn't let him go. He almost killed you and Little Bean. Even if I let him go, Hua Xiqian wouldn't let him go. So, Mian, you don't have to feel guilty. Hua Mian shook her head. No, honey. I don't feel guilty, and I don't feel guilty at all. Hua Si is a crazy bastard, I don't feel sorry for him. It's good that he's dead. Otherwise, Hua Xiqian wouldn't have let him go. Plus, he would have died a much more tragic death. I just feel bad for Yen Yen. She doesn't have many family members left in her life. I wonder if Shinjiani is still causing trouble in Vietnam, or if she'll come back and seek revenge after hearing that her son is dead. Hua Min said worriedly. I don't think she'll come back for revenge. Didn't Lu Yen say that she was going to get rid of the Vietnamese gang? I don't think they'll have a chance to come back for revenge. Lu Yen is furious after what happened to you and Little Bean. If she wasn't in the Golden Triangle right now, she would have blown them up. Qin Chu knew Lu Yan's hot temper too well. Hua Min's face warmed up at the mention of his sister. Yen has a hot temper. She's not like me at all. But it's good. With her personality, she won't be bullied. Plus, it feels good to be protected by my sister. Hua Min smiled happily. It's more than just protection. I think she's overbearing. Qin Chu smiled. Honey, do you think Yen is in danger in the Golden Triangle? I'm so worried about her. Hua Min couldn't get in touch with Lu Yen. Unless Lu Yen looked for her, she had no way of contacting her. Ever since they parted yesterday, Lu Yen jumped out of the second-floor window and went to the top of the mountain. Hua Mian was really worried. Although she knew that her sister was very powerful, she still didn't feel confident. Don't worry, honey. You should be worried. You have to pray that your sister doesn't destroy their home. Hua Mian's shoulders comfort. Hua no. Hua Mian was not traumatized by Hua Si's death. In fact, she was quite relieved. Everyone had to be responsible for their own mistakes, and Hua Si was no exception. Was. After all, Hua Yanyan said she was going to visit Hua Si after she got out of the hospital. In fact, even if Hua Mian didn't tell him that, he would be sentenced to life imprisonment or more than 30 years in prison. Hua Si wouldn't be able to take it. Plus, Hua Xiqian would do something to the prison. Hua Si would be in a worse state than he was now. Hua Mian's choice to die was a wise choice. It was a relief. After dinner, Yang Meirong took the kids upstairs to play. Tian was a little reserved and didn't like to talk. Hua Mian was glad that the twins were having so much fun and had already treated this place as their home. Qin Chu went back to the study and began to discuss the work at the headquarters with Qin Ning. The siblings even had some arguments. Hua Min and Jixin sat on the sofa and chatted. Jixin picked up an orange, opened it, and handed it to Hua Min. Sis, have an orange. Hey, no one is unaccountably nice. What's going on? Do you need something from me? Hua Min smiled wickedly. Chapter 2029. Pfft, is your brother like that in your eyes? I'm a super nice guy who loves my sister, Jixin retorted. Fine, if you're not going to tell me, then I'm going upstairs to sleep. Hua Min pretended to get up and leave. Hey, sis, don't, I have something to do. Hua Min tried to sound Jixin out, and Jixin immediately lost his cool. Humph, I knew you had something to say. Tell me. Hua Min put a small piece of orange in his mouth and chewed. Then, he crossed his legs and looked at Jixin. He could guess what he was going to say. After all, he was his little brother, so he knew him well. Sis, I'm going to tell you, but don't laugh at me. Let's talk first. Jixin seemed to be a little conflicted. Hurry up and say it. Cut the crap, I hate it when guys talk nonsense. Hua Mian was getting impatient. She didn't want Jixin to be indecisive like a woman. He had to be as decisive as Mr. Qin. Even if he couldn't, he had to be as decisive and wise as Su Yu and Wei Liao. Sis, you know that I like Bella, right? Yeah, is there a problem? Hua Min asked. Recently. I've been troubled. I've been thinking about how to confess to her properly, the kind that can make her officially date me. Damn it, you haven't done it yet? It's been so long, Jixin, can you do it or not? I have to take it slow. I don't want to scare her away too quickly. Jixin looked wronged. Don't tell people that you're my little brother. You're so slow when it comes to picking up girls, I'm so mad at you. Hua Min was speechless. Sis, don't just stand there and talk, okay? You know better than me what kind of person Bella is. She's a strong woman. Her personality is almost as good as yours, how can I be like a little girl? Plus, if we can't get her and get rejected, it'll be so awkward. Jixin rolled his eyes at his sister. I don't think so. From what I know about Bella, I think she prefers a domineering man, not a submissive little brother like you. So, Jixin, if you really want to pursue Bella, you have to show your power. What do you mean? Jixin put a slice of orange into his mouth and looked at his sister adorably. If you like her, then go get her. Hua Min said decisively. And then? Jixin quietly waited for her to continue. If it doesn't work, I'll drug him. Hua Min's words almost made Jixin choke on the orange in his mouth. Then, he coughed violently. Cough, 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 are you okay? Is there a need for such a big reaction? Hua Min disagreed. If you like him, then go get him. If you don't like him, then drug him. You really are my sister. Jixin wanted to cry but had no tears. Alright, I won't tease you anymore. But my words do make sense. Which part makes sense? Drug him? Jixin asked. Of course not. Are you an idiot? What I mean is, if you want to pursue Bella, then be more domineering and aggressive. Take the initiative. After all, you have to take the initiative to pursue a girl. Even if you don't succeed, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're an adult, who cares about that in the workplace? Okay. I'll choose an auspicious day and then I'll confess to Bella. Jixin finally made up his mind. Sis. You and brother-in-law have to support me, I'm your only little brother. Chapter 2030. How? Hua Min smiled. I think you can ask my brother-in-law to give me and Bella a chance to go on a business trip alone. That would be perfect, Jixin said with a cheeky smile. Why don't you go to heaven? A business trip alone? Why don't you just ask your brother-in-law to give you a marriage? Hua Min glared at him. If my brother-in-law agrees, then of course I'm willing. Don't be so shameless. Go to bed. Hua Min smiled as he pinched Jixin's nose. Then, he put on his slippers and went upstairs. Before Hua Min went back to his bedroom, he went to the twins' room to take a look. They were still playing with blocks and dolls on the floor. Their mother was also patiently knitting a sweater. He looked at the three children. Tian, are you sleepy? If you're tired, then go to bed early. Hua Min looked at Hua Yinyan's daughter gently. Auntie, I'm not sleepy. I want to play a little longer, Tian said softly. Okay, don't stay up too late. You have to go to dance class with your sister tomorrow. Auntie prepared a beautiful dress for you. Thank you, Auntie. Tian was very polite. Mommy, can you stop wasting time? You're not even 30 yet. Don't give me the impression that you're going through menopause. Pudding began to complain. Hua Min was speechless. Mommy, good night. Bye, go to bed early. Otherwise, you won't be pretty if you have crow's feet. If you're not pretty, Daddy won't love you anymore. If he doesn't love you, he won't be able to have a little brother with you. Little Bean was much more vicious than Pudding. Huamin's face turned red and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You too, don't be so rude. Especially you, Little Bean. If I hear you say such filthy things again, Mommy won't forgive you. Okay, okay. I'm just joking with you. Can you take a joke? Little Bean immediately found a way out for herself. In the study, Qin Chu and Qin Ning went into workaholic mode. The two of them first had a video conference with Qin Ning's father, who was at the headquarters in the United States. They made some big decisions. After that, Qin Chu took out the company's latest reform plan and discussed it with Qin Ning. By the time he was done, it was already past 11 o'clock at night. All right, it's about time. Let's call it a day. You should go get some rest. Qin Chu glanced at his sister. Big brother, you're such a workaholic. I came here to see my niece in private vacation mode, but you dragged me into work mode and took up my private time. Boo-hoo. I have a hard life. Come on, you think I don't know you? You're the best at finding joy in your work. You should thank me for giving you a chance to perform. Qin Chu joked with her on purpose. "Io, not bad. Brother, you actually have a sense of humor now. Looks like sister-in-law taught you well. Don't talk nonsense. I've always been the one teaching your sister-in-law. How could she teach me?" Qin Chu smirked. Just then, Qin Ning suddenly thought of something. She asked tentatively, "Big brother, are you close with Suyu? Why did you suddenly bring him up?" Qin Chu always had an indescribable feeling about Suyu. He wasn't a friend, but he wasn't an enemy either. It's all because of your two daughters. They keep talking about Suyu this and Suyu that. So I'm curious, what kind of man is he? Suyu. I don't think he's suitable for you, Qin Chu slowly said after thinking for a long time. For some reason, Qin Ning was quite disappointed when she heard this. She didn't want to give up and asked, "Big brother, why do you say that? How do you know we're not suitable?" Chapter 2031. Suyu. I won't comment too much on him, and you shouldn't be too interested in him. That's all. Qin Chu didn't seem to want to say more, but the more he didn't, the more interested Qin Ning became. After the siblings finished talking about work, they went back to their respective rooms. When Qin Chu came back, Huamin was already lying in bed. Winters in the north were especially long, and there would be about 4 months of extremely cold weather every year. The good thing was that there was heat in the room, and it was like spring all year round. This was the time when Huamin felt like she was bursting with happiness. She was curled up in her blanket, reading a pathology book. Ever since she resigned from GK, she felt much more relaxed. Qin Chu was very supportive of her going back to being a doctor. It was the happiest thing for her in a while. "Honey, what are you reading? You look so serious." After taking a shower, Qin Chu walked over and hugged Huamin from behind. "I'm studying. I haven't been back to South Side in a long time. It's been more than 4 years. Although President Wu and everyone else trust me, I can't let my guard down. That's right, study hard. Good luck." Qin Chu smiled and stroked her long hair. Then, he lay down next to Huamin. The two of them were tightly pressed against each other. "How are things on your end? Are you done?" Huamin put down her book and asked. "Yeah, almost. With Ning Ning here, it's a lot easier for me. I just don't know if the headquarters will approve of the reforms here," Qin Chu pondered. "Take it slow. The reforms can't be done in a day or two. I understand that you're anxious to keep up with the times and integrate with the world. But our company has such a large team, it can't be done in a day. It needs a lot of time." "Yes, honey, you're always right." Qin Chu chuckled. "Huh. Why do you sound like you're an incapable ruler? Don't think that I'm always right. Do you think I'm right? You're right, you're right. Mr. Chin nodded. So obedient? Something's not right. Huamin felt that something was off when he saw Mr. Chin being so easygoing. Honey, you're thinking too much. Your husband has always been so obedient, okay? Then let's go to bed. You have an early meeting tomorrow morning. With that, Huamin reached out to turn off the lights. However, Chin Chu grabbed her hand and flipped her over, pressing her on top of him. What are you doing? Huamin jumped in fright. He wasn't mentally prepared, so, honey, I'm too cold. Chin Chu said seriously. So? Huamin had a vague feeling that the next sentence wouldn't be anything good. As expected. So. I want to do some warm-up exercises with you to keep warm. You're shameless. Huamian blushed at his teasing. Chin Chu laughed arrogantly. Then, he bent down and nibbled on her red, pouty lips. The rarest thing about Huamin was that whenever she was with Chin Chu, she would always be shy like a young girl. Therefore, Chin Chu would occasionally tease her about this matter, making the two of them feel like they had been in love for the first time many years ago. Mr. Chin's stamina was great, his waist was strong, and he had great energy. Therefore, when Huamin woke up the next morning, he almost fell to the ground. Fuck, my legs are so weak. Huamian mumbled. Honey. What are you mumbling to yourself about? Mr. Chin turned over and looked at Huamin with sleepy eyes. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.